you've been missing, where you been all this time. Broken or unbroken, regardless you're still mine, 'cause you belong to me. So hold on to me. Don't forget that I'm the one who made you, the one who's always going to crave you, pull you in, you're my muse. I know you love to be abused. I can show you off like a trophy, pull you in while you're on both knees. Let me show you the way, 'cause you're the only one I ever want to stay. I hear that you've been running, are you trying to escape? All that I can offer, come into my embrace, 'cause you belong to me. So hold on to me. Don't forget that I'm the one who made you, the one who's always going to crave you, pull you in, you're my muse. I know you love to be abused. I can show you off like a trophy, pull you in while you're on both knees. Let me show you the way, 'cause you're the only one I ever want to stay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to CEA Siege. Tonight we have the lower bracket finals between Michigan Tech and Penn State. This one is going to be a fantastic matchup. My name is Jays Wills, and tonight I am joined by the one and only C-Daps. My man, how you doing tonight?
You know, I'm doing really great. Finally back where I came from here at CEA Siege. Not afraid of humble beginnings, so let's just go back to our roots and have two teams that have fought their way all the way to the top of the lower bracket and are competing to punch their ticket to the grand finals, where they'll have a little bit of a rematch with a team that we know as Akron.
Well, Akron have gone to the finals in a really big way, just punishing every team who stood in their way. And whoever wins tonight is going to have their work cut out for them. On the line in the grand finals, the winner, 5 CORSAIR Strafe RGB mechanical keyboards, in addition to $1,300. That's quite a prize. And second place also hooked themselves up with some CORSAIR headset and $900. So if you win here tonight, you guarantee yourself a little bit of that prize pool. So these teams definitely have their eye on that prize. But CDAPS, I want to draw your attention to one thing. These teams actually played each other earlier in the regular season because this is Invite League and we do a full round robin. And it was actually Penn State who came out on top. They won on Oregon 7-3. That's a map we're going to see as our map number 1 of the night. And then they tied on Clubhouse, giving Penn State the partial win and throwing the loss to Michigan Tech. So Michigan Tech, they're going to be looking to change things around a little bit.
Yeah, overall with the rest of the map pool, you already touched on it briefly. You've got Oregon starting off. MTU will take the defensive side, with PSU taking that overtime advantage for the defensive half. Then MTU decided to take us to Theme Park, the second new map, which I'm excited to see instead of the Cafe Club Villa Purgatory that us casters constantly have to be plunged inside of. We don't get to fully escape it because the remaining decider map, if needed, will be Villa. Sides have not been determined yet because of round differential tiebreakers coming through. If needed, we'll have to take a quick break and calculate that. So much math, 5 plus 7, wherever those numbers will go. Whoever has more rounds across the two will get their preferred side. Most likely the defense, maybe the attack if we're getting a little bit spicy, because Villa has sort of in the meta shifted to a pretty neutral map. Very exciting to see out of that. But the first two maps that we are guaranteed to see, Oregon and Theme Park, definitely defender sided.
Well, Theme Park especially is going to be interesting because neither team has played Theme Park, at least according to my notes, at all in this entire season, playoffs included. So Theme Park is going to be completely new territory for both of these teams in this competitive setting. So I'm interested to see exactly what these teams are going to bring out. And well, it could be really thrilling. And as casters, like you said, we love to see Theme Park because we don't always get to cast that. So cannot wait to see it. But we're still waiting on a couple more players to get in this lobby, so we're going to keep on running down through this. But overall, I think this matchup is going to be great.
Yeah, I'm just always and the Ubisoft servers have now failed as well, so we are going to be just waiting a little bit longer. We can waffle about and talk predictions, I guess. I think this matchup is going to go the distance. I think each team is going to pick up their respective map. So PSU picking up Oregon, then MTU taking Theme Park. And overall, with just how the meta has shifted, and especially in collegiate, map pools aren't necessarily as wide as you might see in T1 or T2. Overall, if you're going to be choosing a map in a best of 3 series where your map choice is your biggest strength coming in against the other team, that's where your advantage is going to be derived from. You really do need to iron it home and feel comfortable enough, which I predict these two rosters, which have some very experienced players that are pretty well known, especially in the collegiate scene here. I don't think that they're going to make the mistake of possibly going to a map that they're weak on. Their bans would have been very sort of calculated. It's very methodical, and they should understand and probably have predicted these exact outcomes.
Well, this does give us a chance to quickly touch on how these teams actually got here in these playoffs. Penn State started off the playoffs right away getting relegated to the lower bracket. They lost to Florida International, but then have really worked their way through since. They beat RIT, they beat Madison, Wisconsin, and now they actually beat FIU, the team that they lost to in the winners bracket side. They beat them, and that's why they're here. MTU, on the other hand, well, they actually had a very good run through the top half, the winners bracket side of the Invite League playoffs, but it was Akron, the legends themselves, who eventually took down Michigan Tech and relegated them to this match. But Michigan Tech have not had to, grind their way through lower bracket finals like Penn State has. And for me, I think that Penn State may have that extra chip on their shoulder. They were here in lower bracket for really the entire time. They really grinded their way through, and they've got that momentum that they need coming off multiple wins in a row, whereas Michigan Tech just is coming off a loss.
Yeah, it's either going to come out to the point where MTU are really going to want to bounce back from the loss to try to get revenge on the perennial titans of collegiate R6, that is the University of Akron, or if it's Penn State continuing their momentum and wanting to keep on pushing forward all the way through the lower bracket and completing that wonderful Cinderella story narrative that we are seeing unfold between our very eyes. But overall, I think for Penn State, a lot of it is going to have to come down to their stamina. Do they have enough left in the tank? They've played more games than MTU. They've overall had a lot harder of a job because the lower bracket is the lower bracket for a reason. You get punished for losing early on, and you're going to have to continuously grind to overcome the disadvantage that you've put yourself in. But with that, we've got the R's in chat. We've got the rounds coming out, and Oregon will be our first place of contention.
Well, as we head into this ban phase, just before we talk about, we're going to likely see a Thatcher ban, but first, let's talk about these players and exactly who we're going to keep our eye on tonight. In terms of Penn State, I have got my eye on Delta Force. He has racked up 187 kills so far, which is really up there, and has a 1.3 KD in terms of his team. That is the top position in terms of KD on his team. Thatcher Band comes out first. That's no surprise there. And on the MTU side, we'll talk about CJ. He has a 1.99 KD. That KD is only beat by one player, in all of Invite League. And CDEPs, I'm pretty sure you could guess, but that's going to be IMAT on Akron, only the player in Invite with a better KD. So Michigan Tech, CJ, a strong player and one to be worried about if you're Penn State.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep your eyes on CJ, but if you worry about him too much for this MTU roster, that's where players such as TK as well as Red start to really shine. Boomer as well, he's their IGL. He's their hard support player trying to keep everybody in line, but he can still frag out on those harder to play roles. On the Penn State side, we do have to say that it's not the same roster that we've come to know and love. If you've watched and been a fan of CEA for a long time, you know Penn State, you've got somebody by the name of Vidge, and he's just an amazing player, but unfortunately moved on to better things, had his career and all those other things that aren't Siege related to be put into priority. And that's going to be coming out into full effect, just like a whole bunch of stars, as MTU is going to be reaching for them, trying to propel themselves to the top. But with round one on the table, you see very default bans. As soon as the Thatcher came out, you see Maverick making the walls very hard to get. You might have to bring a Cali. You might just have to go down for some vertical destruction with Soft Breach. But with the Cade going down as well, that's sort of a necessary ban, or else you wouldn't have been able to get a single hatch open on this map.
Yeah, and the Mira ban, obviously, to round us out. No one likes to see a Mira in play. They can be so suppressive, especially when you're pushing in on that basement defense. And the basement defense is exactly where we will be starting off. Michigan Tech electing to go there first, bringing out looks like your default lineup. Well, I'm interested that we don't have a Wamai quite yet, but it's possible that Boomer will. Yep, there it goes. Boomer going a 6-pick over to that Wamai. So, we're going to see that elbow, that tarps position in construction. That's going to be a big point of contention, as well as pillars, depending on where those deployable shields are placed. Because this meta that we're in, this utility consumption simulator that we'll talk about time and time again, those deployable shields, those mini pocket mirror windows can be very, very oppressive.
Yeah, overall, that's where Oregon, as well as Theme Park, which we will see later tonight, really have found themselves ingrained towards the map pool as, like you said, Utility Simulator 2020. It's just the areas that are right next to site, the very crucial pieces of map control that the attackers are going to have to pry from the cold, dead hands of the defenders, are really well defended if you just bring a couple of iron slats that we know and love as deployable shields, throw an ADS, throw some Wamai magnets in front of them, and make the attackers just throw flashbangs, grenades, any sort of projectiles towards them. And overall, when you have to do that, that takes away time, and time is the only sort of limiting factor of the defenders, as it's just sort of very difficult to get in and just try to get your grip onto where in the site you're going to start pushing. And once the time starts crunching down, that's where the defenders can just sit back and chill. They have to have the attackers walk straight into their crosshairs. They know that they're in the advantage in that position. They can play passive, they can play aggressive, and overall, that's where you can see a lot of players on the defensive side really start to shine, especially Chibbles. He's on the Maestro. He's got 81 bullets in that all-to LMG. He's going to be able to just sit and hold mouse 1 for as long as possible as soon as that execute starts coming forward.
Well, the Execute's not going to have to worry about the elbow player at all, because it appears that Michigan not going to contest that whatsoever. Not going to put that deployable shield. We don't have a smoke on the board for them, so that's not going to be a position they're going to need to hold. We saw that deployable shield from the Wamai devoted to pillars, but this very aggressive pillar push here from Penn State eliminated that shield right away and have now taken control of the north side of the basement. And now it's going to be up to Thermite. He's going to start opening up the wall onto Electrical and trying to get some sight lines on these players in supply room. There will be a player upstairs. That's going to be Red, but he will get taken down by a beautiful shot from Jaws. That'll be that first frag of the night. And Penn State getting off to a good start.
Yeah, really great start on a map such as Oregon. The first pick is very crucial for the attacking side. Trying to overcome a man disadvantage towards your execute will be incredibly difficult, as now we're going to see some stuns coming out. TK still holding strong in that angle, as Destroyer's just waiting for anything to happen. K-Bear, beautiful nade onto Boomer, making him go goodbye. 2 for the price and none as the sled swings in, but TK is going to be able to take out K-Bear. More breaching going on, and TK wants to get aggressive, but that's a little bit too much. He flew too close to the sun, and Destroyer will put him to an early retirement, relegated to Cam's duty like the rest of his fallen teammates. There's a 4v2 situation. It's CJ and Chibbles against the world. Only K-Bear on the side of Penn State has fallen down, and there's so much time left on the clock that the rest of the Penn State attackers are able to start droning and just gathering up intel as they go towards their execute.
Well, we see here Ash now positioned in Freezer. That's Delta Force on that drone, and that's going to assist the plant from Electroshot. He's going to get that plant down in supply room while covered by his teammates. CJ, though, he'll take down Jaws, making it a 2 versus 3. Not impossible, but the Pillars player's one to worry about, but CJ takes his head off just like that. Now it's a 2v2. Absolutely possible for this retake to go down, especially because that Alda has enough bullets for more than one team. And here comes CJ now working his way through Electrical, but it doesn't matter. Electroshot finds one. CJ with a triple kill will take down Electroclaw, and now he's going to tease the defuse. Pros don't fake, but he will. He'll try to find Delta Force, but Delta Force shuts him down. A beautiful attacking round number 1 for Penn State.
Yeah, really well executed. Sure, it was a little bit too close for comfort. When you have a 4v2 situation, it comes down to the 1v1, you're clinching just a little bit. You're a little bit scared. But overall, the cool, calm, and collected nature coming out of Delta Force was too much to overcome with the time disadvantage that MTU found themselves in. A wonderful, just nice try coming out of CJ. It was so close he could almost taste it, but he couldn't land the final decisive shots onto the Ash, who may or may not have a headshot hitbox. We'll never know. That's just how Ashes go. But a really well-executed attack out of PSU. They got into sight. They got their first picks. They got their second pick, and they even got the third one coming through. Got the plant down and went to passive positions that were able to successfully defend that diffuser.
I mean, it really was a clinical take from Penn State. It really mature siege is what we saw on display there. After getting a 2-man advantage and getting complete control of pillars, sometimes what you see from a team is they'll just send it into sight and try to take control that way. That can often result in, losing a couple of players, getting a potential complete switch around of the momentum in the round. But PSU did not bother dealing with that whatsoever. They took a step back. They put their drones into the site. They sussed out the position of the defenders, and that allowed them to get a beautiful execute, and they knew exactly where to position themselves for the post plant. Like you said, we saw Delta Force positioned in Freezer, completely safe there, and they knew it. And that is exactly what enabled them to get such a good post plant and stop CJ from really going on the absolute tear that he did. He was able to find several, but at the end of the day, it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's just overall, the main thing that the attackers have to overcome is the time management. But so far, sure, there's only one round of sample data coming out, but Penn State has looked sharp. They've got their checklist. They've got their ABC. They know exactly what they need to do. Roam clear, take pillars, push into sight, get the plant down. And that looked really great. They had 45 extra seconds to go for with a huge man advantage and a whole lot of map control. And they're going to be looking to do the same with their time management and their checklist going onto this new site that we're going to see upstairs inside of kids' dorms. Delta Force has already taken a good amount of map control. That's all the way inside the big tower. He's on the second floor of that in those tower stairs, as it's going to be a split push coming out of the Penn State attack so far. They're going to get Attic open. Then they're going to get Master open, and then they're just going to pinch the site and try to get as many frags as possible.
Well, if you do that properly, you can pretty much seal off all of games and guarantee yourself a plan. We'll see the thermite charge go off. That's going to open up the attic side, and that's going to be CJ left to contest this angle for now. He's going to try to shoot those couple drones as they roll up on him. Information denial coming out from him, but the flash grenades are going to absolutely come down in a barrage of explosions, but no push will follow them immediately. TK getting very aggressive here on this master wood wall. He'll find one. That's going to be Jaws. First to fall for the attackers once again. And now CJ still here in attic. Hasn't really been pushed out yet from this attack. He's doing just fine. He'll continue to pre-fire and look to both sides of him, but the positioning of TK is very interesting. He's just stuck in games, but CJ delivers another headshot onto K-Bear. This one's looking good for MTU.
Yeah, it's looking really great so far, as the Jaeger will fall down at the hands of Delta Force. A similar narrative of what we saw strung together last round with the final decisive blow, but this time a little bit earlier on in the round. And overall, Penn State's attack hasn't looked as clean as last seen. They weren't able to get any control over towards attic because overall, CJ just kind of murdered everybody that walked down that narrow corridor, and they've sort of completely vacated that push. Delta Force going to double window. They're going to put some pressure over towards Wolf and Master and completely change up their strat. They're no longer going for the split because you can't allocate enough resources because you don't have them. You only have 3 remaining attackers to try to push into the site and make that 2 as TK picks up his second kill. Electro's shot falls down, and that's your last hard breacher as the Bandit's going to keep on going. He's going to drop down for his triple kill and take out Destroyer. He's on the prowl for 4. He knows the Delta Force has to be somewhere. He's going to be able to take out the Mute. That is Boomer, but it's the refrag coming out of Reds. That MP5 puts the final shot into Delta Force, and MTU will even up the round count at 1-1.
Well, just like that beautiful attack we saw from Penn State on the previous round, well, Michigan Tech, they answered in kind. They had a beautiful defensive performance, well, assisted heavily by TK and CJ, who really just put on a show for us there. Yes, it was Red who cleaned that up, but really the Bandit of TK, he just swung every angle, and on the side of Penn State, there was nowhere they could hide from that MP7. But it was a great defensive round, but they're going to be heading back towards Laundry and Supply Room. We saw how Penn State attacked it the first time. Question is, are they going to change it up? And is Michigan Tech going to have the necessary adaptations to slow down that Pillars push?
Yeah, that Pillars push was really well executed by Penn State. Pardon me, my voice is already dying. Woo! But coming out, they just pushed into bunker. There wasn't any backlash coming out of MTU. You didn't see the very shield-heavy setup that you would see inside a bunker, inside that elbow. You put a shield up in where the top left of your corner is, where the drone with the sledge icon is going, and typically you'll play somebody such as a Mute or a Smoke with the shotgun and SMG-11 combination, and then it's very hard to uproot them from that sort of position that you would see coming out. But for MTU, they're going for the old tried and true turtle strat. They aren't really having much of an extension besides Boomer on the Wamai inside of Pillars. But typically, Pillars is a position that is very hard to hold down if you don't have any supplemented pressure coming in from another side. Because he's just going to get pinched. He's going to get pushed in from blue, and he's going to get pushed on the stairs. And you can't watch 2 angles at once. I don't care how good of a player you are. Not even Shaiko would be able to pull off that feat.
Well, it appears that actually Wamai has now moved his deployable shield back from that door from construction into Pillars, now back to a more passive position in Pillars. This is the exact same position we saw him put it in last time, but what this is going to allow is complete control of blue from Penn State. This is something they were able to do last time, but this time it's going to be CJ joining Boomer up in Pillars to try to stall out this push. Jaws is going to be the man tasked with getting these hatches open, while that's going to be the Zofia of Destroyer pressuring down those tower stairs to, like you said, pinch on the Pillars position. There is one roamer. That is going to be Red. Last time it didn't work out for him, and so he's going to try to find some more success that he was able to last time. But actually, Pillars control is now been surrendered by Michigan Tech. It's going to be the sledge of K-Bear and Destroyer who now have complete Pillars control and will now use this to your advantage. But with 5 defenders still on the board, they're able to hold some passive positions in Freezer, but Destroyer will punish TK for that right away, taking his head off. We're getting some very aggressive swings from the Maestro, and he'll come out on top. That's Chibbles with the Alda will take down Destroyer, and he's going to keep challenging onto these players. Shots come out onto Electrical. CJ is going to back off in Supply Room, but right now we're at a 4v4 equal man count.
Yeah, the execute is looming. It's right on the horizon as flashbangs are going to rain out, and Delta Force is going to make his way down Freezer, but that's right into the loving arms of Red with a well-timed flank inside of Security, who'll now be able to come back home with the spoils of war and victory down, rejoining his teammate Chibbles inside that corridor. A cook nade coming out of K-Bear could find a kill. There's no ADS to stop it, and that's what he's going to take right onto Chibbles. A little bit of damage onto a couple of other players as well, but not quite enough to put them down for the count. Jaws coming down those back stairs, trying to rejoin in Pillars, where that's where the attack has stalled out. But K-Bear's going to continue making noise as we're going to see CJ rip the head right off of the Habana, evening up the man count at 2-2. But K-Bear's inside his sight. They don't know if CJ necessarily knows, but it seems like he does. He's going to pick up the final 2. Michigan Tech with another beautiful defense coming out to take 2 in a row and reclaim the lead that they lost on round 1.
Well, CJ is proving he is the king of the basement. Good lord, he is just popping off down there like we have never seen. Obviously, he wasn't able to quite do that much success on the top floor, but wow, 7-2, 3 rounds in. Very impressive performance from CJ thus far. Seems that I was right to pinpoint him as the player to watch. But It's the tertiary bomb site, and that is going to be meeting hall and kitchen. This is pretty interesting. Normally, players debate time and time again, like, is kitchen and dining better, or is kitchen and meeting hall better? I generally prefer to see kitchen and dining. Seems like that is a stronger position to hold if you know how to hold showers very well. But if you don't, maybe meeting is a better option. C-Dabs, I'd love to hear your take on that.
This is actually one of the small little tidbits that I do know and I love to talk about, because the main difference in the tertiary bomb site on Oregon is actually regional difference. Typically, here in NA, you see a lot more meeting and kitchen play, but if you go all the way across the pond to EU, over to our European counterparts, that's where you start to see the kitchen play coming out with dining room, and it just becomes a little bit more fun, a lot more centric attack coming from the west side of the map, as opposed to meeting. You do need a lot more vertical pressure in order to be successful on the attacking front. That's why you see a lot of pushback being allocated by the MTU defenders upstairs. You've got bandit batteries, reinforcements, castle barricades. Oh my, so many things for the attackers to get through. Because overall, if you want to execute on that B bomb site, you're going to have to blast out the entire floor and uproot the defenders that are going to be waiting down below.
Well, looks like that's going to be the mission of Destroyer for now. Going to head up towards Tower, trying to pressure onto Attic, but it's going to be easier said than done. Like you said, we have countless bits of utility devoted to this Attic hold, but maybe they're just going to forgo it completely. Delta Force already starting to challenge onto the meeting hall doorway from T1 here, and that's going to be Destroyer assisting him as well. By that, the drone going to try to guide him in, but there's going to be quite a bit of resistance here. I guess forgoing that top push will allow you to just send all 5 onto site and not having to waste utility up top. But you never know. We're only a minute burned in this round. You can still get that vertical pressure going. The flashes will come in to burn those ADSs, trying to get that actually vertical play, allowing the Thermite to get his exothermic charge onto the wall. But Ash just going to run across, completely unaware that CJ is standing right in the doorway. Delta Force going to get down for that. Nice little penalty there delivered by CJ. But at the end of the day, Delta Force did get picked back up, 20 HP for the remainder of the round for him. But Red will deliver the final blow onto Delta Force, a good flank from below. And now the attackers have to refocus their attention onto this player.
Yeah, they know that he's right down below and he could strike at any given moment, but TK didn't quite know the Destroyer was going to be swinging with vengeance as he ties up the man advantage and puts the Australian man upside down all the way on the other side of the world. He'll actually pick up another on the form of CJ, but Red's going to be tagging some feet onto the Zofia who was upstairs. Chibbles now goes down but not out. He won't be recovered because K-Bear will finish off that beautiful kill and take a 2-man advantage going towards the execute for the attackers. The site is tertiary for a reason. It's a lot harder to hold, and it's going to be even more difficult when there's all of these sight lines opened up and Boomer is on his lonesome with Red not able to get back so far. He's just sending pot shots downrange. He can't quite get it done as the Bandit will fall at the hands of K-Bear, the sledge delivering a lot of pain with that L85, leaving it all up to Boomer, who's going to have to get 4 kills plus a defuse in order to make sure that the site doesn't go down. K-Bear picks up his 3rd SMG-11 from the back. Penn State, a wonderful attack coming through, tying it all up 2-2.
Well, that was simply a methodical take to that site. I mean, Penn State clearly knew what they were doing, attacking that tertiary site. We saw that early pressure onto Meeting Hall to take the bandit batteries off of Attic Wall, and that was able to establish the vertical pressure, clear out those top players, and force them to rotate down late, and they were out of position as a result. The castle barricades didn't do a ton there that MTU was really hoping for. And it was really just beautifully done from Penn State. But we're going to be heading back to dorms. This is a site that Michigan Tech were able to win their first time here pretty decisively, rather, with TK popping off. I'm interested to see if Penn State are going to make an adaptation to that at all. And I say this most of the time I cast, but I really love to see how teams change up their strategy when they know they're beat in particular positions. And that is what separates, good collegiate teams from the best collegiate teams. Because when you have an IGL who knows what they're doing and can call, a pivot of a strategy either mid-round or between rounds, that can really, make your team excel when the other team expects you, to do a very, default take. They know what you're doing. They expect the same thing to come out every round.
Yeah, overall, Penn State has already had a very successful attacking half because the expected scoreline that we would see is 4-2 in favor of the defenders. So, only 2/3 of the way into the rounds, they could lose these next two and be completely fine. They would feel comfortable in that sort of 4-2 split. It's expected. It's expected for a reason because this map definitely leans towards the defender-sided facet. But so far, they just have 2 extra shots in order to make their attacking half even stronger. If there's a 3-3 split, if Penn State's able to pick up a single round or MTU fumbles the bag a little bit, they're going to be in for a rude awakening as soon as these sides flip, because this is Penn State's map choice after all. They have the overtime split of defense if it gets that far. Most likely if there's a 3-3 split, however, it will not, because I would expect Penn State to feel comfortable enough on their defenses to pick the map that they're going to be really consistent on getting that at least 4-2 split into their favor. But what we saw last time coming out of Penn State was just an inability to get even close to sight going against this MTU defense upstairs. We saw TK and we saw CJ absolutely pop off, but speak of the name, CJ already losing about 40% of his HP due to a well-cooked frag grenade down below.
Well, that attic wall is open, but like you said, Penn State struggled to make this attic push happen last time. That's going to be a key focus of this round. Can they do it? But CJ just getting extremely aggressive onto the master doorway. He wasn't able to find the repelling player, but was able to scare them just a bit. The flashes do come out from the thermite as he pushes up a little bit there. That's going to be actually Ash pushing up into attic, assisted by that drone at her feet. But CJ, bullet holes, not going to be able to find Delta Force for now. Swinging around, just running around everywhere, trying to find somebody. He's going to get taken down very low by Delta Force here, as that push in attic is now very successful. And now this crossfire on games is still being established, but TK is still tucked away in the corner over by the closet wall. I'm not sure if Delta Force is aware of this. Keeps darting back in front of that door, but Destroyer will take out CJ. That's going to be a good pick. The thorn in the side of this Penn State attack has been CJ, but TK, he was very powerful in this last round before, and seeming to be still in this power position. Nobody has forced him out quite yet, and this closet take has really yet to come down.
They still have a minute to work with. That's why we're going to see players start dropping around and repositioning, mainly Destroyer, going onto the window to apply a nice crossfire over towards the areas that TK is trying to hold on to. There's also a little bit of drone work coming in. That's what Boomer's going to be going as TK goes down, but not out. It's 2 kills in quick succession for the Penn State attackers. Red answers back and tries to stop the bleeding, but it's more and more kills as Josh just runs straight into sight. It's all Boomer once again in a 1v4 situation. The SMG-11 getting a little bit squirrely. It's hard to control. He's under pressure from all sides. There's bullets flying every which way, and he has to do so much in order to not fall down to the lead, and he'll get put 6 feet under. Delta Force with a beautiful kill onto the lonesome mute, the last survivor for MTU, as Penn State were able to right their wrongs, able to adapt and overcome on the second floor site and take the lead on their Oregon attacks.
Well, adapt and overcome they did, and that the success they had on that round was the exact same success we saw on the very first round when they attacked Laundry. And the key part of both of these rounds that have been so similar is how they, pause their aggressive attack, toss out some drones, get the intel, and then they make their execute with about 40 seconds to go. That's what we saw now. That's what we saw in that first round, and that is what's been working for them so well. They really just do a great job coordinating their drone work, coordinating their pushes with their entry fraggers, and so far their entry fraggers have been able to deliver the kills when they needed to. This time CJ and TK were both shut down before they could do as much damage as they did last time we were on the dorms site. But we're headed back to Laundry. This is a site that both teams have had their success on. Penn State, the first round, they succeeded here, but then Michigan Tech had the necessary response. They adapted just a little bit, and they were able to shut down the Penn State push when they came in here on that second attempt. They didn't change much up, but it was CJ with that Jaeger once again who was able to pop off earlier in the round and prove very key to the overall success. But we have some new picks coming out from both teams. That's going to be Red going with the Alibi and K-Bear taking up the Yana.
Yeah, Boomer has also taken himself off the SMG-11. If you're not feeling the gun, you're not going to be feeling it, as he's going to go to the Vector or the TCSG that Goyo's going to be bringing, as well as those fiery Vulcan shields. That's two pieces of utility as opposed to most people's secondary gadgets that we would see only bringing one. The only thing is that if you get behind him or you destroy him, it also leaves a wake of explosive fiery goodness in its clones, or pardon me, its absence. Overall, putting them inside of sight, that does deny a lot of the default plant areas. And for the side of Penn State, they have an Ash and they have a Zofia, so they have the necessary ranged hard reach in order to take them out. But if they burn it and they don't allocate it properly, such as maybe destroying barbed wire or those Maestro cams that we're seeing already be pinged away as Delta Force is trying to get rid of them, you might find yourself in a little bit of a situation going in towards sight.
Well, this is a bit of a different hold we're also seeing from Michigan Tech. This time it's more of an extended hold. They've got two roamers upstairs. That would be CJ and Red, trying to delay the vertical take as much as they can. The alibi is going to be positioned in dorms. Not sure if the drone saw him on the first pass, but this time the drone caught him out, and he's going to be forced to rotate away from the aggressing destroyer who's up in attic right now. This top-down clear is coming out. Still hasn't been completed quite yet, as this pillars push is getting very saucy here, as we see the thermite now opening up the wall into electrical to establish those long angles onto supply room and to allow them to get that plant down. But there's still the roamers to worry about. Chibbles will get taken down. That's going to be K-Bear with a G36 to deliver the kill, but CJ will trade that out. He's just doing so well on this site. Oh my goodness. But Red is going to start to work that flank. The question is, does Penn State have the flank drone in the position, and will they be aware of this tower's rotate?
Yeah, Red can deliver a lot of damage here with the MX-4 Storm, a gun that is very well suited for close quarters engagement, especially if you just get behind all of these attackers that are starting to stack inside of pillars. He's going to be able to take out the first one. That's Delta Force trying to take some meeting control, but didn't quite know that there was a strong Italian lady waiting there to put him straight under. TK takes so much damage, actually down but not out at the hands of that Vulcan shield erupting, and that's sort of the issue that you see coming out of those Vulcan shields inside of sight. They can either work for you or they can work against you. And for TK, it definitely went to the way of the attackers, put him in a position where he's going to have only 20 HP for the rest of this round with the execute looming ahead. Electroshots placing that wonderful exothermic charge. He's going to be blowing up another pathway into sight and vacating a lot of the positions that we would see MTU want to play, as he's actually going to be able to take out CJ. That has been the great player coming out, as TK is going to answer back on a Jaws, as well as pick up one onto Electroshot. He gets refragged at the hands of Destroyer on a beautiful flank, but Destroyer's the last survivor, and Boomer with his first kill makes sure it's impactful, takes a round for MTU, and ensures that they get the split half and aren't looking too horrible going into their attacking front.
Well, the flank from Red there that we were keeping our eye on, it was able to find one, taking out the Ash, that was Delta Force. But the flank never really came down in those last few seconds, but it didn't really seem to matter. Like you said, Boomer getting that first kill of this match for him, but it was a big one. He delivered that final dying blow there to Destroyer. It was a good push there from Penn State, but at the end of the day, it was Michigan Tech who prevailed. They did a good job playing time, forcing that execute to come in those last few seconds, the 20-second meta that we've got today. And, well, it didn't work out so well for Penn State. They didn't exactly know where the Michigan Tech defenders were positioned, and that cost them dearly in the end. But we're on to our second half, and now it's going to be Penn State taking up the role of the defense on their map pick. Like you said, CDAPS, we're going to expect something great from them here. They're going to only pick a map that they know perfectly how to defend, but it's going to be Dorms and Kids. It's going to be the first site of the Penn State half.
Yeah, starting up strong, typically there's a lot of contention between which is the primary bomb site of this map, either upstairs or downstairs, sort of the tertiary bomb sites that we already discussed briefly in the form of kitchen and dining as well as kitchen and meeting. They play second fiddle to these bomb sites, but a lot of teams just have preference. If they like upstairs, they like holding attic, or they like holding pillars. And most likely Electroshot will be in both of those positions, as he has taken the mantle of the Wamai, bringing a shield, allowing a lot of long angles to be opened up, as that main game's wall that we see try to be closed is actually going to be opened on the side of Penn State, allowing a nice horizontal extension of the bomb site and a lot of pressure for MTU, if they try to go for a master bedroom take, they're going to be met with an Ella in close proximity. They're going to be met with some other guns that really shine in those close quarters proximities, and it might be ill-advised to go for this push because it's right into the hands of what Penn State is employing.
Well, see those flashes go out, and CJ is going to shut down the pocket reinforcement play from Jaws. That is perfect aggression and well-timed to shut that down. Delta Force will answer, taking down TK, but, well, it was a very effective start for Michigan Tech, and what that's going to allow them to do, they're not going to have to waste any hard breach on this closet wall. They've got the long angle they need into Attic to seal off this game's crossfire to get that plant down. They will have to deal with Delta Force, though, who's positioned here in Attic, trying to use those footholds over towards Master. But an interesting attempt from Penn State to do a strategy we've seen only generally in the APAC region of T1. They try to do these closet holds, and, well, this one didn't work out too hot for them. We will see another pick go out. CJ will be the next to fall, so it's going to be a 3 versus 4 here with about 1:45 to play.
Yeah, the only hard breacher they have is Chibbles on the Habana, who is very far away and not necessarily needed for this front side push that MTU is seemingly wanting to go for. Might just sort of relocate, yes, going over towards the other window as Boomer will fall at the hands of Destroyer. That Scorpion, so many bullets downrange in such close proximity, is always going to get the better, even if you have an AK-12 that Boomer was wielding with the Ace. Now it's a 4v2. There's still 1:15 left on the clock. That's a little bit nice for the attackers, but that's sort of where the positives end. You don't have diffuser control, and you don't really have any map control. They don't seem to know that there's a Jaeger right behind Chibbles who wants to go inside of sight. He's going to walk right into the crossfire that's opened up, gets shot in the back, gets swung by all angles, and gets finished off by Destroyer, picking up his second kill with the Ella, leaving it all up to Red in a 1v4 clutch or die situation where Penn State has looked a lot stronger on their defensive side than we saw just a couple of rounds ago on their attacking split.
Well, like you said, it's all up to Red. Not much he's going to be able to do here. There's about 100 different crossfires he's going to have to push through if he wants to take this. And Destroyer will swing. He'll get punished. And that's going to be the first one for Red. But that's the only one he's going to get on this round. Delta Force will finish him off and give Penn State the final blow to win that round.
Yeah, really well done by the Jaeger inside of Armory. Having that angle opened up is something that seemingly MTU didn't drone well enough. There were mute jammers allocated over towards that area, meaning that the attackers were sort of going inside of Master blind. There was a little bit of sort of drone denial coming out of Electroshot early on in the round. He took a couple out with the Keratos, and denying that active drone intel made it very difficult for MTU to really know that they were walking into a massive trap of crossfires and aggressive players coming onto the defensive side, and that was their undoing. They sort of went in blind. They didn't know what was happening. People were getting shot in the back from that wonderful angle opened up inside of Armory, and it started off looking pretty good for MTU because they got that first pick. There was a lot of quick aggression coming out of, I believe it was CJ on the Ash, taking out the player trying to do the pocket reinforcement. But after that, they couldn't get any more control. They tried to push up, and there was just a player on a shield. There was a player holding a really deep angle with the 416C carbine, a very, very, very great weapon on the defensive side that just allowed Penn State to answer back in full time and take the round into their hands. Now, with a little bit more momentum as Penn State has finally taken the lead firmly into their hands, they're going to be going all the way downstairs to their secondary bomb site of Basement, a site that we've seen sort of go back and forth on MTU's side just a couple of rounds ago. First off, Penn State won it. Then after that, the MTU adjustments overall were just too much for Penn State to handle on their attacking side, and they were unable to get inside the bomb site and attack it effectively. For MTU, they really need to get this round if they have any hopes of getting the entire game, because sure, you can win your tertiary bomb site that Penn State will most likely be going towards, but for Penn State, all they need is a 3-3 split, and they would have already established that they can win 2/3 of the sites, and if you do a little bit of easy multiplication, that's going to allow them to win at a scoreline of 7-5 without the need of overtime.
Well, Penn State are going for a pretty similar setup we've seen from MTU. This time, though, they're going to elect to play over in tarps this time because they do have that smoke on the board, and they are going to open the electrical wall to establish a crossfire from pillars over into Tarp. So that's only going to be one player, though, TK, contesting this position. And we see a lot of defensive utility devoted to that. The rest of the attack could be gearing up for something more of a laundry push or something like a freezer push. We do see Red on the Twitch, not something you normally see at all at this competitive level of Siege, but he's going to be worried about that freezer push and getting these meeting hall hatches open. Delta Force delivering the first kill of the round, taking down CJ. That is a successful roam, and now he's going to do his best to work his way back to site and catch out any players who are trying to push down into freezer. Destroyer here just kind of hanging out. Nobody's really pushing exactly where he wants them to, so no one using that utility that the defenders have allocated to the blue side push. But now it appears that Penn State actually getting a little bit more aggressive with it. That's going to be Mute K-Bear on the top of Freezer Stairs. He's been popping off tonight so far, 9 and 4. And Delta Force rather, is still positioned in a place to get a flank at a later date.
Yeah, and especially because CJ was the first to fall, there's not going to be a whole lot of nomad air jabs being sort of denying any flank, but as Red is taking freezer control, it might not matter. He seems to have a little bit of an inkling that there's somebody coming up, and he's going to take out with a double kill onto the flanking Delta Force. 2 for the price of none so far, as the Twitch pushing freezer with that F2 is causing so much damage. Can now essentially bisect the site in half. There's going to be no rotations inside of the A bomb because you're going to walk right into the loving arms of Red, who's an absolute marksman with that F2. One-time site, he's sort of ready for any close engagements, and that seems to be what Destroyer wants to go for. Electroshot's trading shots with a couple of people, as there's now 2 players inside of Freezer. Can't quite get it done. He's jiggling back and forth, but Boomer's going to be putting him straight under, leaving it all up to Jaws. Never mind, just Electroshot as the triple kill comes out of Red, and Chibbles picks up the final one. Support players frag out. Michigan Tech has a really strong attack with the main stairs freezer push as opposed to the back stairs blue push that we've come to see.
Well, Penn State didn't really do a great job at adapting once they saw how that push came down. We saw Destroyer on the Wamai. He tried to work his way up into freezer, but he tried to swing on 2 players and found neither of them couldn't choose which player he wanted to devote his gun to, and ended up not working out in his favor. But it was a really great push from Michigan Tech. They just completely ignored pushing construction because they figured that Penn State would be devoting a ton of utility to that position like we saw them do. And it was a beautiful laundry take, a beautiful freezer take, and that really enabled them to just keep on getting those frags that were so essential. They just kept getting one at a time. And you have to draw attention to the little bit of a roam issues we had from Delta Force and K-Bear. I mean, Delta Force got his first pick, and that's all he really needed to consider it a successful roam. But K-Bear got a bit aggressive on top of Freezer Stairs, and, Red penalized him for that in a big way. And Red getting that double kill onto those 2 players extended a little bit off the site is purely what allowed them to get that execute going. I mean, if Delta Force was still on the board and he didn't swing down those stairs, or K-Bear played it a bit more passively, I really do think that round would have played it out in a very different way.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to say that MTU was necessarily going for the freezer frontside execute. I think it was almost CSGO-esque in playing for picks. They knew that they had to roam clear effectively, and when you have somebody such as Red get 2 free kills on the backside, removing everybody that the Penn State defense had put over towards that area, it was capitalizing on what you were given, and a really great on-the-fly adjustment coming out of the MTU defense, as it's actually a little bit of a rush coming out. There's absolute pandemonium coming as TK is able to take out Jaws. Boomer picks up another one as well, as it's the complete duality of man. You go from cool and methodical to an absolute rush. So many bodies flying everywhere. Boomer with a double kill. It's a 4v1, all left up to Electroshock, who's going to be able to take out one. The diffuser going down. The dust has settled, and it's a 3v1 situation with only 40 seconds gone in.
Well, I have no idea what we just witnessed, but it's going to be all up to Electroshock. He's going to be swinging around onto Laundry Stairs. He'll take down Red, so he only has 2 more to find. He has more than enough bullets to do so, but it's a post plant. Oh, he'll take out CJ all the way in Pillars, and just like that, it's a 1v1. Electroshock delivering that triple kill. He only needs 1 more to find to win this round, but he doesn't know his position. He'll swing around. He'll look for the prone man, but it's Boomer who comes out on top. C-Daps, what in God's name did we just watch?
I was talking about how MTU was doing on-the-fly adjustments. And do you know what happened? They made another on-the-fly adjustment. They saw that the setup was late coming out of the Penn State defense. There was so many angles being opened up, so many shields being placed all over the site that MTU was like, hey, what if we hit them before they're even set up? And then all of a sudden, they snapped their fingers, they exploded through blue, didn't get the reinforcements done, exploded onto site, took out everybody within their crosshairs, got the plant down, and all of a sudden, as soon as all the bullets stopped, the chaos had fully ensued. It was a 3v1 situation with just Electroshock on his lonesome, trying to do the work of God and allow his team to be successful on that defense, but it was too tall of an order. Able to pick up quite a few, a triple kill to his name, but couldn't get the decisive blow onto Boomer, who was just sitting laying prone in a corner. Not a gunfight that you're going to be winning in close proximity with an AK-12. And overall, Michigan Tech has looked really great coming out on their attacks.
Well, Michigan Tech just punished Penn State for going to the same site twice. That's going to allow them to go back to their primary site of choice. That's dorms. But really, Michigan Tech just executed that beautifully. They had the drone work going down. They saw that they had a little bit of an opening, that the setup going down from Penn State was a little bit too late. Once again, these reinforcements on Closet are a bit delayed, but eventually they'll go down. But it was really a brilliant call from Michigan Tech to make that happen. They knew that they had an opening. There wasn't enough utility put down in time, and they just sent it, and it worked really, really well. I mean, I think that Penn State, saw how well the laundry and freezer push worked last time. Maybe they were trying to devote a lot of utility to that side, change up their setup a little bit, but those slight changes really threw off their rhythm, and that is exactly what allowed Michigan Tech to find that opening and make that execute. That was really well applied aggression from Michigan Tech, and that's going to put Penn State here a little bit on the back foot. They're down a round on their map pick, and now we're headed back to dorms. They did win this site last time they were here, but it wasn't that easy.
Yeah, it was a little bit too close for comfort. Initially, we thought that Michigan Tech was going to be looking insanely strong as they got the first pick, but then everything fell apart when somebody named Delta Force was able to attack all the way from Armory, completely silencing all of the pressure inside of the master bedroom. And now it's going to be a completely different take coming out of the MTU playbook. They're going for the full roam clear. They're going to be going mainly from attic as opposed to master because they know what Penn State is going to be bringing to the table over on that side. And if Penn State's going to be able to successfully defend two different attacks that will fully cement the second floor as being their better bomb site, which would be good for them. They understand exactly what's going to be happening there. But I do have to say that they probably need to avoid the area that we know as the basement like the plague. They've lost it two different ways, and we're going to have to be going to the tertiary bomb sites going forward.
Well, this roam clear has now been pretty successful from Michigan Tech. They've cleared out the basement. They've cleared out a large part of first floor, but it's a sneaky Delta Force who's hiding out in security. We saw the drone pass by this door before. I'm not sure if it actually went in the room and saw him, and it did not, but it doesn't matter. Hello? Red with a beautiful flick. Delta Force caught out there. He didn't know that the Ash knew his position. A couple of frags will light up the scoreboard as Chibbles takes down Jaws, but Electroshot Destroyer will oh my goodness! The response was decisive. Destroyer and Electroshot just absolutely put a vice grip on this attack and really just bring it back for Penn State when it looked like it was not going in their favor.
That was a firing squad if I've ever seen it. The remaining players on the MTU attack were forced to funnel in through a doorway and a rotate hole. And when you have a weapon such as the Alda with 81 bullets and the Scorpion with 41 in the mag, that's not what you want to do. Everybody lined up like a fresh haircut and we're taken down, mowed down, whatever you want to say. And MTU were unable to take that attack with just the final two remaining players, Electroshot as well as Destroyer, lighting up the kill feed orange and allowing Penn State to make it a tie game once again. But I said it before and I'll say it again. I'm going to touch back on what I was saying briefly last round. that I think PSU should avoid basement like the plague. I don't have access to their comm, so they definitely can't hear me, and that's where they're gonna be going.
Well, clearly this is telegraphing they do not feel confident on one of those tertiary sites, either kitchen or dining or kitchen or meeting hall. So if they do in fact win this round, well, that's a good sign for Michigan Tech that they're going to be able to take the next round pretty handily, because Penn State, well, they're not avoiding basement like the plague, but they are avoiding those tertiary bomb sites. I never like to see a team go to the same place over and over again, especially when they keep making the same mistakes, or if the attacking team just does the same thing and it works so beautifully. But, well, we're going to have to see what Penn State bring to the table. We're going to see that similar pillar shield set up there, and the rotate into blue and towards tarps is still established. No player is there yet, but that's going to be smoke rotating over there. But they have to be wary that MTU could just do the same thing again and go for a rush.
Yeah, I don't think the rush will work once again because lightning doesn't strike twice. But if you rush from a different spot, you might still be able to catch them off guard. And it seems as if main might be the place that CJ wants to go in. They have a lot of very frag-heavy operators coming through, and CJ's already making his way down the doors in conjunction with Red on the Jackal. They're going to ping out the player inside of Freezer as they're just trying to break down every barricade and announce to the entire Penn State roster that yes, we are coming down main. You better watch this area and probably change a lot of your resource allocation, as that's exactly what we're going to see coming out of Penn State. They're bringing in ADS. They're reinforcing off blue, picking up the shield, and setting up shop somewhere different to adjust on the fly to what MTU is bringing forward.
Well, this could be the crucial part of this round, this adaptation of that utility. Like you said, we saw them take away that utility from blue, take away that utility from pillars, and they've shifted that towards laundry and to freezer. But we're only a minute in this round, and MTU could switch something up at any moment. Doesn't seem that CJ has that on his mind, as he's just going to challenge directly onto laundry. He'll get taken down of 15 HP for his troubles. No, he'll just get taken down completely. Electro shot with a beautiful shot through the closet wall, and now that vertical pressure coming out from Red, and that's going to be TK and Chibbles. But that was really a solo push there from CJ, and it was a beautiful job of Penn State shutting that down after that utility was moved around. So now we've got that freezer take and we've got that vertical pressure, but it appears that Red has it on his mind to continue the pressure into laundry. But since that utility has been moved around, Chibbles, his flashes are going to be snagged by those Wumai pancakes.
Yeah, those magnets doing their job completely well, taking away a lot of the utility and slowing down the push that we're seeing being split up from the MTU attackers. Now Chibble's taking a lot of damage from the uncharacteristic sort of Alda spray that we've known to come and love so far, as Electroshot has taken so many kills away from the side of the MTU attack, and he's going to take a little bit of damage back and forth as the shotgun in close proximity is going to get the better of Red. He's not going to be able to sneak away and get any more feet, as TK will also get put straight down to the dirt by Delta Force. Another crossfire being put over on the backside of Freezer, leaving just Chibbles in a 1v5 situation. He's able to take up one, but can't quite find the second. Destroyer, not on a whole lot of HP, but it's just pre-firing, going in blind. Not that many bullets left, bearing 9 in hand, trying to go in, but there's somebody right on that concrete block playing oh so passive. They know the time is in their favor on the Penn State side. They're not going to over-aggress. Chibble's just trying to save some KD, make his stats look a little bit better, pre-firing away with it, but Delta Force on the backside is going to be known to be on the flank, but K-Bear's going to swing out and take another round for Penn State as they claim the lead and put themselves on match point.
Well, it is match point, but I would not be surprised if Michigan Tech take this next round. Like I said, the tertiary bomb site, a site that Penn State have absolutely been avoiding. Well, we have to head to it now on match point. But I got to give it up to the adaptation we saw from Penn State on that defense. They really were decisive and efficient with moving their utility over from blue and over from pillars to freezer and laundry, and that is a huge part of why that round played out in the fashion that it did, because Penn State had the positions set up after they shifted it around to just hold and anchor with utilities supporting them. Last time they were unsuccessfully able to do this, at least on the non-rush attempt, was because they did not have good anchorable positions to watch a laundry or a freezer push. But this time, they brilliantly made it happen. They made the necessary changes, and well, that is going to allow them to go to match point.
Yeah, really well done with the Transformers type defense. That was a little bit more than meets the eye coming out overall, changing up on the fly and allowing Penn State to propel themselves onto a match point right here. But for the first time, we're going to see the tertiary bomb site come out of the Penn State arsenal. They're going to be going for kitchen and dining. We said it before that there's a little bit of a argument as to which is the better site between kitchen and meeting versus kitchen and dining. MTU liked the meeting side, and now we're going to see Penn State setting up a lot of resources to stop the small tower take that most teams will be putting on display while trying to take and execute over towards that couch that we see next to the A bomb. And overall, you have Goyo shields, so you have the shield set up. You have a couple more getting brought out, as well as sort of bulletproof utility coming onto the back of Electroshots Evil Eye cameras, there's Malusi gadgets, there's mute jammers, as well as a couple of ADSs to protect those crucial pieces of utility being placed by the defenders, but a lot of them can be taken out by Red on the Twitch with those wonderful drones. The tasers will sort of render all of that useless if the drone is able to get in and get sneaky, but most likely that execute will really hinge upon vertical pressure, because they're already droning the upstairs. They know that there's quite a few Penn State attackers up here trying to protect kids like it's the second floor bomb site, but the bomb site resides down below.
Well, we do have those two defenders up here to hold off that vertical pressure. They were sussed out by those drones, but they've yet to be pressured out by much attackers. We're going to see one pushing up into Trophy, as well as supported by Master, and one on the game's window, but it's Penn State playing extremely passive right now, waiting for Michigan Tech to walk into their open arms. But from below, a beautiful jump in on the White Stairs window, and Red will find Delta Force. That's a good start. Now K-Bear, he's stuck up here all alone with no one to support him. The hatch might be open for him to drop down, yes, so he'll be able to drop down if he needs, but Chibbles will find another pick in the meantime onto Destroyer. K-Bear, he knows better than to challenge this too much. He's going to drop down and support his remaining two defender allies on the bottom floor. But vertical control is now in the hands of Michigan Tech. And K-Bear, though, he'll answer. He'll take down one player who is pushing up towards Attic. That's going to be Chibbles now, very aware that there is a player in the area, but is not exactly sure where to look. We've got a minute 15 to go. Down one man still is Penn State, but there it is. K-Bear delivering the double kill and returning us to a 3 versus 3.
Health advantage still goes into the hand of the MTU attackers, but map control not looking too hot as they're going to vacate the second floor and have to start setting up their execute. They're only leaving TK up there. He's opened up a little bit of holes, trying to cut rotations and make a lot of the power positions that we would see the Penn State defenders try to hold completely unplayable unless you want to get hit with a rain of bullets from above, and that would lead into death. But that's what the fate that Red will meet at the hands of the shotgun jaws, locking up security. Now prone with that shotgun, Boomer's gonna have to push in if he wants to go forward. He's pre-firing prone. He's getting blasted by the Mossberg, damage going both ways, as both of these players are about one shot apiece from going down. But with the timing and the crossfires being employed by Penn State, Boomer's stuck between a rock and a hard place. TK taking a little bit of damage too as the Selmas will go out. He's walking in a Banshee. It's wailing, it's flailing, and it's slowing him down as Boomer is now realizing he has to push this mute inside of security. TK just walking on into sight, but there's no time. The diffuser goes down, bullets traded back and forth as Electroshot's gonna pick up the second. A beautiful flick coming out of the alt as it sings that wonderful Italian song, the song of death and the song of victory for PSU on their first map.
Well, the good halves come out, and indeed it was. It was really back and forth the entire time, but it was Penn State who prevailed at the end of the day, taking Oregon map number 1. And making this one a bit spicy. We know that MTU has picked Theme Park. It's their map choice. They're assuming that PSU doesn't know much about it because they haven't played it yet this season. So it's going to be an interesting one, but I expect Michigan Tech to come out very strongly and really come out in a big, big way. But we saw our leaderboard there. It was Destroyer, K-Bear, and Electroshot from PSU who really just put on an absolute showing. But don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back after a quick little intermission before our next map, and that's going to be Theme Park. See you in a moment.
I'm gonna do my thing.
Oh, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we have the losers bracket finals of CEA Siege Fall 2020 Invite League playoffs. If you're just now tuning in, you missed a heck of a game coming out on Oregon, where it was back and forth, absolute barn burner between our two teams, MTU, Michigan Tech University, and Josylvania State University, coming out of Pennsylvania on display so far. My name is CDAPS, and I'm joined in the booth by the wonderful man by the name is Jays Wills. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, especially after I got to witness that first matchup. It was quite a thrilling time. We really saw the tenacity of Penn State on display, but Michigan Tech really came out strong as well. They took some rounds that we did not expect them to take. They really brought the fight to Penn State in a couple of moments here or there. And I bet Penn State were actually a bit worried after losing back-to-back laundry defenses. That's a tough place for them to be. But now we're going on to the MTU map pick. It's Theme Park, a map that you love to see as a caster because you rarely get to cast this map because it is so rarely picked, especially at the collegiate level. But we know that MTU are going to come out here with a vengeance. They are now playing for their tournament lives. They need this map to force our decider of Villa. But we're not going to waste any more time, and we're going to head straight in to map number 2.
Penn State does get the defensive half coming forward on Theme Park because this is MTU's map choice after all, which you touched on briefly in the pre-show, that this is a map that Penn State has not shown or played in any invite game so far. So do they have strats? Have they been saving something in their back pocket, activating the trap card for MTU to choose this as their map choice? Or are MTU going to come out swinging and return with a vengeance for the sort of loss that they were fallen upon last time on Oregon? Only time will tell, but very few things are constant. You've got death, taxes, and a Thatcher Maverick ban coming out of these two teams, as we saw that first on display on Oregon and now on Theme Park. Two maps that are very, very similar in their defender-sided facet, so not necessarily a surprise to see that both of these attacking bans coming out will make it incredibly hard for the attackers to get inside of sight, get those breaches open, and will let the defenders sort of sigh a breath of relief, knowing that any of their anti-breaching measures aren't going to be taken out by an EMP grenade or exposed by a breaching torch.
Well, the frags of Maverick will also be out off the table, but thankfully there are several other operators who can bring those into play. We do see the Mira ban as our ban number 3. We'll see if we get any hard breach denial taken off the board here. I wonder if we will. And yes, it's going to be Kai. No more Electro Claws in play, but the Bandit batteries and those Mute Jammers are still very much on the table, and I am confident we are going to see one or both of those picks when you head over to defense. But here we are on Theme Park, a map that really, you can do so many variety of defensive holds on this map. Every single site, an extended hold is actually a viable strategy, extending utility upstairs across the entire first or second floor. But a turtle strat also works just as well. You can really, there's a lot of positions on these sites where you can hold using your soft destruction assisted by your shotguns and your impact grenades, opening up some good lines of sight. And really, all of these strats are absolutely viable. So I'm interested to see exactly what Penn State on their first defensive half is going to really choose to bring out tonight.
Yeah, going towards Initiation Room and Office is typically seen as the tertiary bomb site coming out of Throne Room, which is typically the primary, and then the secondary site, typically more teams prefer defending Bunk, and then sort of Initiation is the toss-up between, do you want to defend Drug Lab, or do you want to defend this bomb site coming through? Because most teams on their attacking side do go from the eastern side of the map. They go horizontally in from cache and just sort of extend and wrap their way around the map until they can constrict sight and try to get some sort of 20-second execute coming through. And on a site such as Initiation and Office, you have to go through a whole lot less square footage in order to actually get into sight, and that's where time doesn't impact you quite as much. But really interesting to see that Penn State will be electing to go there first. It's either this is their primary bomb site. They're going to feel the most comfortable here, or they're just going to try to start off strong on a weaker bomb site and know that it can only go up from here.
Well, we are going to see a bit of an extended hold. We see those castle barricades deployed all across the top floor to seal off that push coming in from upper arcade. And one thing you notice, CJ is back on the Twitch. Again, as we noted earlier, not the most common operator at this level of Siege, but, you know, viable nonetheless if you know how to use those Twitch drones to the best of their ability, not let them get shot out unnecessarily if you can. There will be mute jammers to slow that down, but right now, it appears that that vertical pressure going to come out from the sledge, opening up the hatches on the roof over into yellow and into control room to allow this attack to really start to, acquire and formulate pretty much from anywhere it wants. Right now, we haven't made a clear decision of where this attack is coming from. Could be a control room initiation take, or it could look something more of a top floor map control take, as CJ now will start droning out Cafe.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a split take where CJ's just going to take the mantle of the backside flank pressure all on his lonesome, as the rest of the drones, not Twitch variety, will be droning out control, cache, bathroom, all of those areas in close proximity to site. Boomer, he sees a shield. He knows that there's a couple of Wamai magnets protecting that, and they're going to have to get rid of them, burn them away in order for an LV Lance to remove the shield that we're seeing the Wamai of Destroyer just sitting behind. We know that's Joe. We know that he is the wonderful god of the Penn State defense, and he's going to be the first line of defense that MTU are going to have to go through if they want to get even close to site.
Well, the first pick will come on the board. Boomer's going to get cut down by the Wamai of Destroyer. A good first pick for Penn State, as this attack has really yet to gain any traction from everywhere they're trying to push. This extended hold is proving to be quite a problem. TK will be taken down, but Red will soon deliver the follow-up and take out Delta Force, playing down in throne room. It does appear that TK could get picked up here by Chibbles, but there's the mute around the corner with a shotgun in hand, just waiting to deliver the punishing blow if they try to revive him. CJ takes the fight onto K-Bear, and he'll prevail, and he'll be on top of that one, but he'll be down about 1 HP for his troubles, but that's going to equalize the man count if TK's not going to be able to be revived. But now, it's going to be, actually looks like it's going to go down. Jaws could swing this, though. He will, but he'll get punished for it. The revive comes out first. Destroyer will trade that one out and find CJ, who is down at 1 HP anyway. But with 20 seconds left, the onus is now on the attack. They need to get into sight, and they need to get this diffuser down. 10 seconds left. Destroyer now getting aggressive, challenging where he knows the diffuser is coming from. He'll get naded out of that position right away, though, and he'll get taken out. That's a good shot there by the Yana. It's all going to be up to Electroshot. The plant's going down, but the time is running out. TK will find one in red, the last one, delivering the blow onto Electroshot. And Michigan Tech salvage a round that looked like it really was in Penn State's favor the entire way.
Yeah, it was really great late round execute coming out of MTU, where Red just cut all of the rotations. He caught Destroyer swinging when he probably shouldn't have, as he was grasping at straws, knew that they were at the disadvantage, and he needed to make a play happen in order to take that round into their back pocket. And it overall just didn't work. Really well done on the execute side coming out of MTU, as they got into sight, got the plant down kind of, but it wasn't really needed, as the flurry of frags came out of the back pocket of the Yana and allowed the sort of time to not be as much of a factor on a retake. It was the bullets coming out of the attackers to deliver the final deadly blow onto the hopes and dreams of the Penn State defense. And now we are seeing a site change. Initially at the bottom of the screen, I saw, oh, they're going initiation office again. That's kind of interesting to see what's coming through on that. And they will change. They'll be going to bunk. They're going to be going to the other second floor's bomb site, the sister site that we just saw be put on display of initiation in office, where it's pushed a little bit further back onto the western side of the map. For the side of MTU, they did attack mainly from the eastern front. They took cache control. They took control, I guess that's what you want to say, that control room where you have that big panel over on the bottom left, that southeastern corridor of the map. And now for the side of Michigan Tech, they're going to have to push through the roam and all of this utility allocated in a very similar setup to what we saw last round. But time will be a little bit more of a factor that we already saw the MTU attack struggle with.
Well, the extended hold is going to come down once again. We're going to see utility devoted not only to the site itself, but extended all the way in offices, that soft destruction, and all the way towards control room, the place that the attackers were able to muster their forces from last time. We see that drone work coming out, trying to figure out exactly where this setup is, but we don't see any utility devoted to holding Cafe whatsoever. The only thing holding Cafe is going to be a little bit of soft destruction applied on that wall facing into bunks. The pings will go out. They'll be aware of that position, but this Cafe push could actually come out anytime now and start to gain control of that hallway. We do see the Yana pick on the board once again, and that's not too surprising. Having those frag grenades can be so important. It is interesting to see going with the Cali, but as Thatcher is banned, no EMP grenades, no Maverick, those lances can be so essential from removing any anti-breach deployed. We do see a fight go out on the first floor. That's Red taking out Delta Force. Unfortunately for him, it's not going to work out this time, but Jaws will be swiftly answering it back and taking out the IQ of CJ.
Yeah, really well done, because a lot of the utility can be taken out from down below. That's what the IQ was trying to do, as well as taking a G8 off the board, a very powerful weapon in its own regard on the attacking side. Will be warmly welcomed to the side of the Penn State defense, as they have one less hot hand to worry about. CJ, one of the most prolific fraggers here at CEA, will be sort of retired to cam duty for the remainder of the round, and it's up to the rest of his teammates to pick up the mantle of his fragging prowess and continue pushing forward onto site, which has been vacated just a little bit because of the wonderful work from down below that TK is doing, opening up all sorts of angles, making it insanely difficult to find a safe place to anchor inside of sight, as the rest of the walls will be ripped down with Chibble's Selma gadgets.
Well, we do see Red eking his way up the staircase. He'll have a couple of players to contend with, though, and Destroyer, using this soft destruction opened up in offices, trying to extend his line of sight all the way through towards Cafe. But right now, this push still mustering its way towards Bunk. Chibble's going to get a few shots into him. That's going to be Destroyer. On the delivering side, he'll swing up, he'll take down Red. That's a good awareness from him. Unfortunately for Red, getting caught out in that position. Jaws with the follow-up, taking down TK. And now he's just swinging on this angle back and forth, not afraid at all of the AK-12 of Chibbles. Now Chibbles rotating around towards the other side into break room. Electroshot not going to know he's there, and he'll get taken down for that maneuver. We'll get Boomer to swing on K-Bear, and K-Bear's the next to fall. It's a 2v2, but the HP for MTU not in their favor. Here comes the fight under the shotgun, but he'll get bodied, and Jaws will get a triple kill on the round, and Destroyer will round it off, giving Penn State a wonderful round win.
Yeah, really well done by the remaining members of Joe SU, coming through as it was the Jaws and Destroyer show, the two veterans of the roster being put on full display, as one got 3 and the other got 2. All of the MTU players shaking in their boots when they had to swing that shotgun in close proximity, and allowing Penn State to tie up the map at 1-1 early on in the defensive side. However, this is MTU's map choice, so for the side of Penn State, they're going to have to really try to get this 4-2 split, or else we're going to see a similar vein to what we saw last time around. If you remember, just probably 30 minutes ago, I would say, for the side of MTU's defense on Oregon, which was Penn State's map choice, it was an even 3-3 split. And then we saw what Penn State did on their defensive half. They were able to get that 4-2 split that you would expect to see, showing that they were a little bit stronger on the map and propelled them to a full map victory with no need for overtime. Will this be a similar story being woven before our very eyes? Only time will tell.
Well, something that time has also told is that, well, we're not heading to Throne Room. We're just going to stick on the top floor. I'm not sure why Penn State have so opposed to that site. That's generally considered one of the primary bomb sites on this map. Maybe they don't know how to hold it, or maybe they know Michigan Tech knows exactly what they're doing and how to attack it. We're headed back to Initiation and Office, a site that is very tough to hold, generally considered that tertiary bomb site. But something that's going to be pressuring onto this site, well, that's the Glaz of CJ. Not sure where the Glaz is coming from, but since he was, I guess buffed or unnerfed, you could say, he'll be more of a contender, especially in high-level Siege.
Yeah, I mean, Banana Vision goes hard. It hits different, especially when you are a very prolific fragger, as CJ has shown so far. that weapon, it can just be so powerful, especially powerful enough to break a hatch and go for a rush potentially. He has the pistol in hand. The PMM will be his sort of a weapon of choice, as now he is right next to sight and just sort of sitting there. Could go for a flank, could just challenge away the Valkyrie, as well as another player that's over inside of Bunk. Now there's a little bit of a flank coming out from Delta Force. I don't think he knows that there's a player inside of daycare when CJ has been found by K-Bear's watchful eyes, and now he's not in a great spot. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He has to smoke off both of the ways he can be pinched from, and he's caught with a smoke in his hands as K-Bear will put him into the DB&O state. But that information is not known, not until Delta Force is going to swing off, pick up his free kill, headshot away the glass, and put him down for good.
Okay, well, you can't be certain exactly what CJ was doing there, going for the clips, trying to just rush on into the site. Props to him for trying, but it's not going to pay off. We see the vertical play now. Coming out from TK is off camera. That's going to be Red, delivering the final blow onto Delta Force, the player who's been so effective on this roam so far today. TK still looking for anybody from these vertical angles, not able to quite find anyone just yet, but at least just trying to force these defenders out of their anchor positions. We also see Chibbles now in control room, challenging on to initiation a little bit. He has opened the wall, so he'll be able to get a full line of sight all the way back onto the cowering Jaws, hiding with that SMG-11, trying not to get caught out by 3 attackers now holding the same angle. K-Bear, though, he will get caught out. That's going to be Boomer on the Cali with the delivering blow. So now at a 4 versus 3 as Jaws is getting absolutely sandwiched, but a C4 toss will not connect. He's going to have to do something. He's completely stuck. The attackers are watching both sides of his exit. TK finds one, and there goes Jaws, finally taken out. And just like that, Michigan Tech will seal it off.
Yeah, really interesting to see so far that Penn State has not elected to go downstairs to arguably one of the strongest bomb sites in the entire game, especially in the competitive map pool in the form of Throne Room, as it's like they can hear me. Now they will, but they've already lost 2 defensive rounds to the very potent MTU attack so far. We're only halfway through the defensive half, and right now MTU is clapping their hands, they're wiping the dust off and saying, we've done all we needed to do. They could sit back into their chairs, fully reclined, feet up, hands behind their head, lose every round from now on, and probably at least confirm overtime if they're not going to be completely inept onto their defensive half. And right now, that's not a position that Penn State really wants to be in. They're going to have to go for the sort of delayed perfect site rotation of taking Throne, going back upstairs into bunks, taking that, and then finally fight the demons that they've confronted in the fact that they have been unable to properly defend their quote-unquote primary bomb site of Initiation Office.
Yeah, that is, like you said, pretty concerning for their hopes on this map. But, you know, they still have their chance. You can force that decider map because they are indeed up a map. So really, the onus is on Michigan Tech. They are the ones that have to find this victory. They have to prove that they can really send a message here and take the fight to Penn State like they've done in these first few rounds here. Something so important about Throne Room, not essential, but almost always seen, is that vertical presence from the attackers. They have to establish some vertical angles to force the anchors out of that fireplace position or out of the pillars position or behind the throne. All of these are large part, you can get that roof soft destruction. And that is exactly why we see the defenders setting up such a heavy presence upstairs. This is very important. We do see a lot of utility devoted up there. So it's all going to be about how MTU are able to make that push happen, force those players out. Something of note, CJ on the Amaru. That's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, CJ has been going for the off-meta picks where he can just kind of get in and frag, but so far he hasn't really gotten the ball rolling, only 1 kill under his belt, while 3 kills are stabbing him in the back. Not looking too hot right now, but this is theme park attacks after all. When you have other players such as Red stepping up at a scoreline of 5-1, you don't really need to have that much pressure on yourself, as you've been quite successful overall. Speaking of the devil, that's CJ taking out Destroyer, a beautifully placed shot right onto the Wamai sitting inside of sight, as they might bypass the vertical roam completely and start hitting the weakness of this site, right for the heart, right for the only bits of map control that truly matter.
Well, Delta Force now will start to rotate down to support his teammates, who are now actually kind of caught out in a tough position because this attacking presence is starting to mount and just directly look onto sight. Red will be positioned looking towards Drug Lab, but here comes that rotation from the Bandit, and he will get taken out. That's Red with another beautiful kill. He's really just popping off this map for sure. Now Delta Force finally back onto site, but he's going to have to challenge onto CJ, who's just swinging back and forth on Dragon. Delta Force will take the shots and come out on top, taking us to a 3 versus 4. Penn State are still down a man. Well, about to be down 2 men. No, Jaws delivers it. He's down to 1 HP, but he took down TK with him. What a brilliant shot with the SMG-11. So now in a 3v3, it's going to be up to Michigan Tech to start mounting this pressure. And with a minute to go, they've made some good progress, but it's going to be all about this execute. Electro shot going to take down Red, and all of a sudden, this has swung in Penn State's favor.
Yeah, they have the man advantage, and it's just up to Chibbles and Boomer, the dynamic duo of supporting operators of the Cali and the Thermite, to overcome Jaws on 1 HP in a Dream, plus Electroshock and Delta Force, who are on a little bit of a heater in their own regard. Boomer makes his way into sight and is going to start typing in the longest password known to man on that yellow laptop, as the C4 will go out, tags shots onto Electroshot, as that's another player on only about 3 HP, as Jaws will go down his HP in a Dream, turn straight into the nightmare of the SP SMG-9. Now Delta Force, he's trying to make his way into shot. They need to swing in conjunction, as Chibbles is going to be able to take down the Jaeger. It's just Electroshot in a 1v2 situation. He's going to pre-fire out onto Boomer. Now it's a 1v1. He's got 30 seconds to play with, but his shoulder just peeks around the corner, and that's all Chibbles needs to capitalize and take another round for the MTU attack, making a worst case scenario split attacking half on arguably the hardest map to get attacking rounds in the competitive map pool.
Well, at that point, all was needed was one bullet to just whiz by the shoulder of the last remaining defender, and that was enough to send him to his 6-foot grave. He was at 1 HP after some early engagements not going his way. But like you said, this is Michigan Tech really sending a message. They're dominant on attack, and we can expect them to be dominant on defense. And if they are, well, that's round differential that's so important to picking your side on Villa and on a map that can be so defender-sided on the collegiate level while switching to attacker-sided overall in the T1 scene. Well, it could be big for MTU.
Yeah, it's looking really good for them so far, as Penn State just doesn't seem to have any answers to what MTU is bringing. They're going to go to the same site once again, because after all, it was insanely close. Just if a single bullet extra had hit any of the remaining operators on MTU, on that 2v3 clutch, they would have been able to take it down fully. And you know how I said that CJ's picking some weird ops?
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing what I see, right?
I think so, unless my eyes deceive me. I believe that is a Dokkaebi on the table here.
But not only is it a Dokkaebi.
Oh no, I just saw it.
That is a Dokkaebi, but the meme cannon, the bikini Bodhi rifle, known as the Boss G, most likely with an ACOG attached. Yes, it is.
I mean, I keep trying to throw some love to some other players like Red on this MTU team who have been so strong in this game, but when CJ's picking these operators, you can't help but talk about him because he's just really making the camera, glued to his first-person view here, because wow, he is really just trying to come in with some unorthodox picks. That is for sure. I'm interested to see if he'll be able to deliver any shots with that Boss G, but he'll have his work cut out for him for sure. That is not the gun you're going to want in most of these engagements, if not all of them. We do have some vertical presence from Penn State. That will be Jaws. with that shotgun and the SMG-11. He'll be looking towards several attackers, all of them very aware of his position, just waiting to make this push. He's got about 4 attackers to worry about. No, yep, there's another 4th coming in, but he'll win the first engagement. He'll take down TK with a headshot, and now the attackers are unsure exactly what to do. They need to push in conjunction. There's 2 doorways, a crossfire, but the crossfire from Penn State proves stronger. Chibbles finds 1, takes down K-Bear in response, but this is brilliant work from Jaws. He's kind of overstaying his welcome here. At any time, he could drop down this hatch. There is an attacker down there waiting for him, but looks like the presence horizontally, at least from the attack, is no longer coming his way. He'll take a few shots. He'll get down Boomer. About 40% of her health gone. And already, Michigan Tech seem to be struggling in round number 5.
Yeah, Jaws played that position beautifully to be just passive enough with just enough cold, calculated aggression to make MTU really fear his position locked up inside of bunks and fully vacate the premises immediately. They dropped all the way down. They know he's right above. Could try to go for a floor bang or any vertical pressure with that Cali rifle, but they've decided just breach on into sight. That's what Chibbles is there to do. The Thermite with those exothermic charges blasting a really big hole right into the wall as Red's going to be watching the flank right where Delta Force was trying to go for. Another kill to his name. The F2 go Burt. High fire rate and high headshot rate coming out of the very accurate hands that Red has in his pocket.
Well, now we've got 30 seconds to go. The first utility dump's going to come in towards this breach, but it's going to be Destroyer. Bucked up on this wall, close, trying to catch anyone off guard as they push into sight. We see all 3 attackers now working their way up into barrels. That's going to be Red devoting his focus on towards Split. He may be able to get a crossfire here onto Destroyer if Destroyer's not careful, but here comes the push. Destroyer's going to fall at the hands of Cali, but he'll get traded out by Electroshot. Jaws with the follow-up. It's going to be all up to Chibbles. 5 seconds left. He's going to have to stick this plant. Now the defender's going to have to get aggressive on this, or I guess they're just going to wait. Jaws going to try to get there in time, but the plant does go down. Chibbles going to take a few pot shots over towards Pillar, and that's going to be Electroshot. Now prone, trying to contest this, but Jaws has snuck his way around, and Electroshot will deliver the final blow, giving the win to Penn State.
Yeah, really well taken retake position coming out of the Penn State attackers to not overextend in that 2v1 situation and use their man count advantage to its full advantage. That's why it's called a man count advantage, because it puts you in a favorable outcome. They were able to just pinch him on 2 different angles. Jaws wasn't even needed, but the very presence of his footsteps was leaving the lonesome player of Chibbles shaking in his boots. Had to watch 2 places at once, and he doesn't have 2 heads. He doesn't have 2 sets of eyes or 2 screens he's controlling in order to watch both of those. Electroshot with a wonderful shot right onto the head of the Thermite took the round as well as the defuse and are starting to stop the bleeding and the hemorrhaging of the wound that the backstab of MTU's very, very strong attacks has left onto the Penn State defense.
I mean, they're going to be trying to take this momentum back. If they can get one more round, I won't count them out completely. Maybe they have a hope if they can really just muster some of the strongest attacking on this map that we've seen. I mean, Michigan Tech had put on an absolute show on attack. So, can't put it past Penn State. Maybe they can do the same thing. But as this is Michigan's map pick, you would expect them to have the advantage, especially when you go to defense on a defensive-sided map. But we are headed towards Bunk and Daycare now. This is a site that Penn State were unable to defend the first time they were here. It was a sneaky play from, I believe, CJ. This is the round that CJ dropped in as the Glaz, potentially, or that was maybe the round after. But either way, this is a round that Michigan was able to muster quite a powerful attack and really just take the fight to Penn State and deliver the fatal blows on every single defending operator.
Yeah, I mean, CJ now has picked up a more mainstream operator. Still has the G8 that we saw him get half of his kills on with the Amaru, so we know he's good enough with that weapon. He's comfortable with it, but who isn't? You know, you have an angled grip on an LMG that feels like a rifle, a high fire rate, as well as 51 bullets to pre-fire every single corner on your entry. It's not that hard to use, but, we've seen some players go absolutely ham with it, as the drone work will indeed confirm the location of the one and only Delta Force. He's going to get 2. That's a lot of intel gathering denied by the Penn State sort of soft roam over towards Cafe, and going to really indicate that, yeah, MTU should probably do their cash push. It's been very characteristic of this MTU roster to go for that area of map control, with a little bit of a late flank coming out of typically red over on that backside balcony to really separate the attention span of the defenders and make them have to worry about multiple angles.
Well, we do see that roam coming in, well, pretty successful so far. He's Delta Force been able to take out a couple of those drones. He's not overstaying his welcome in any position. He's doing exactly what a good roamer needs to do. Just be patient. Take out the info denial, or deny that info rather, as red. Well, we'll deny the life of Jaws. No more mute on the board, and no more Jaws, who's been popping off so far. 7-4 as a hard support player. That's exactly what you need from him. Delta Force is going to run over, take a fight onto CJ. CJ's going to come out on top, especially as that Vulcan shield will detonate and take Delta Force down to about 45 HP. We do see red swinging up over in top arcade, looking towards bunk now. Supported by CJ behind him. Boomer going to take a few shots as now red swings up all the way into sight, looking for anyone to find. Defender's playing a bit passive here, but Destroyer not going to play passive at all. He'll take off the head of CJ. K-Bear's going to get quite a few damage dealt to him. C4 comes out, won't connect. K-Bear finds one. Red will find another, removing Delta Force from play. Flashes go out right onto the feet of Electroshot. Red will swing, but he'll get penalized for it. And already it's down to a 2 versus 3. This time, Penn State looking clean, and they're coming out on top in these fights.
Yeah, really well done so far from the defense of Penn State, as one swing is going to go out. TK can't quite hit the shots, but almost enough that leaves K-Bear and Destroyer just a single bullet away. Now K-Bear, he got hit with that single bullet. It's an even Steven 2v2 man count, but there's only 15 seconds left for Chibbles to get inside of the bomb site. Electroshot's going to shut that down. TK gets the refrag, but it's a 1v1 against Joe himself. He has the crossfire. He knows that TK has to plant the bomb. He's flexing his brain. He's just going to wait for the clock to strike 000, and he has the red pings. He has the pre-fire. He's going to go in and get this free kill, as he actually isn't quite able to get it done. It's a game of cat and mouse, and TK's gonna take it. What a beautiful play by the Buck. Michigan Tech secures the 4-2 split off of the misplay from the Wamai. Beautiful work coming out, ice cold in his veins, hailing from Canada. TK, I'm speechless.
TK, what a high IQ play there. He got it down and got the kill in those last few seconds. The Wamai definitely not pushing at the right moment, didn't get the right pre-fire, but you got to give it up to TK for a beautiful play there, winning the round for MTU and giving them a tremendous advantage as we go to their defending half. Interesting that we're going to see initiation in office as the first pick once again. Maybe these teams know something that we don't about the viability of this site, but nonetheless, MTU, they've got a big advantage going in their defensive half on their map pick. This is concerning for Penn State.
Yeah, it's really concerning, as maybe this is why they haven't necessarily played Theme Park very much, and MTU seems to be insanely comfortable on it. Securing the 4-2 split for the attacking side is typically what you wouldn't expect at this level of siege. You'd expect the 4-2 for the defenders, and now Michigan Tech only has to win 3 more rounds, just a single site, or even just your primary twice and your secondary 1 out of 2 times in order to secure victory. And Penn State has quite the uphill battle.
Well, you know, we've seen them start that uphill climb, but they haven't been able to get all the way there. They took a nice round 2 rounds ago on defense, and it looked like maybe they were going to be able to muster something, but it just hasn't gone in their way. The cards have not fallen the way they've wanted them to. And now on attack, they have their work cut out for them. They're going to be going to initiation in office. Whether they know how to attack this site perfectly or not is the question. Where is this pressure going to come from? Are they going to just send it into cash, send it into offices? Or are they going to work something more of what we saw from Michigan Tech when they were on their attack? Are they going to take control of Top Dragon, work their way into initiation from control room, and establish the crossfire there? That is the question, and only time will tell exactly what we will see from them. In terms of our lineups, we do have the Pulse for the first time on this map. MTU clearly have got some coordination and some strats already cooking up, and he'll use that pseudo wall hacks through that heartbeat sensor to try to get this nitro kill from below.
Yeah, the legal wall hacks of the cardiac sensor, as he can just wait for the unsuspecting victim, and that is the Ash of Destroyer getting fall into the ground straight onto her butt, into the DB&O state, where K-Bear on the sledge is going to have to act as the field medic to revive and bring back in their entry frag, who will now be punished with only 20 HP for the remainder of the round. Red probably thinks he didn't get a kill with that nitro, but he might have done just enough damage, softened up the entry just enough to propel Michigan Tech to stop the last little bit of pressure. But when you get entry frags coming out of Delta Force on the Zofia, it sort of negates that initial pressure, especially when he's able to pick up two. That's TK biting the bullet early as well. That's your Bandit and your Goyo, as well as a lot of your pressure inside of initiation falling at one fell swoop.
Well, in a 3v5 now, it's Michigan on the back foot, but CJ's going to try to recover that. He'll take out Delta Force. K-Bear will answer back right away, taking out Red, and that is big pressure coming out from Penn State. Seems that they do know how to attack. Whether or not they got the strats, they've got the frags. CJ, though, taking out K-Bear. No more frags for you. And now it's a 2 versus 3. And with a minute to go, CJ with another. That's a triple kill. No wonder we're focusing on this man so much tonight. He has put on an absolute show for us. With about 50 seconds to go now, the attack is still stalled out over in Cafe. They are aware of the position of the Valkyrie, but it's CJ who's been so elusive in this round. He hasn't quite been, he's just been moving around this whole time. The drone will suss him out, but just like that, he'll relocate and prove to be a thorn in the side of Penn State just from a different location. Chibbles was taken down just a bit to about 40% of his health gone, as Electroshot now starts to push into Bunk. He does seem to be aware of the position of CK. He'll be looking, CJ, he'll be looking around, start to flash in, but won't be able to find anybody for now. Still looking around, they're going to have to get this plant down with 10 seconds left. Here comes the execute. CJ has it on his mind to deny it. The quad kill, he's on for the ace. He only has one more to find, and that's Electroshot. 5 seconds left, Electroshot takes down Chibbles. So it's the ace clutch delivered by CJ. What a play from him.
Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how many kills CJ had to win as he's trying to drag his team over the finish line. And at a scoreline of 5-2, it's looking increasingly likely that we're going to go all the way to Italy, all the way to map 3 of Villa in the decider of this series, where MTU is starting to peak right at the correct time. The initial pressure coming out of the PSU attack looked insanely good. They got the first pick, they got the second pick, they even got the third, but then somebody named CJ decided to finally show up when the world needed him most. Picked up all 5 kills, single-handedly took the round into the back pocket, as now they only need 2 more rounds in order to take this. And they're going downstairs to Throne Room and Armory, arguably one of the strongest sites on this map that is going to allow MTU to either do a very, very big roam strat or just turtle in. Both strats insanely viable on this strong bomb site.
But look at this. The cap can pick from Red. The first time we've seen that all night. Could be interesting if utilized properly. We don't have an IQ on the table, so you know, we'll be able to get those Capcan traps down without being detected, I guess. But, you know, not the most common pick here in competitive Siege, but always interesting to see exactly how it works. It can be quite effective if you just slap them all over the map. The attackers walk into one after the other, and when they, you know, get that 20-second execute going, they'll all be 50 HP, and so the fight can be a lot easier if you're a defender anchored onto site. We see him putting those all along the top floor, just so when this roam clear goes down, well, they'll be punished for it just a little bit. We also see that pulse from Chibbles once again. Last time I think it was Red on the pulse, but this time Chibbles taking up that role. Once again, heartbeat sensor, something to worry about if you're an attacker.
Yeah, it's not only can be used to lethal effect if you have a well-placed, pre-placed nitro, but you can also just feed information for the rest of your defenders to really act upon. You know where the push is coming from. You can see people such as Red know that he's getting droned from this side. He probably needs to get out of dodge in the form of cash, where you will impact away the vault hole, tuck, tail, and run, valuing his life over that little bit of map control that he was trying to grip onto with a pretty loose grip. just kind of sitting there waiting to fall back and waste the time of the attackers so far. And so far, there's been a minute down, no hot action quite yet, as more drones will be feeding in intel. A Nitro from down below takes K-Bear to about 25 HP, and that's your pretty much only soft breacher. He's now going to be feeling like he's walking on a minefield, feeling like he can die at any given moment, but that fear will not be felt as the sledgehammer is going to make quick work of a lot of the floor holes. But somebody by the name of Boomer also has no fear and is going to be aggressively peeking them and gets a beautiful shot onto Destroyer. Jaws taking a little bit of damage as well, 50 HP indeed, but K-Bear falling at the hands of Boomer. 2 kills from down under, looking quite strong as Surgeon with the SMG-11.
Well, the British operator taking a trip to Australia, finding those kills from down under, like you were saying. Jaws now taking very low HP. Not only did a cap can trap, blow up in his face, but a couple of shots from below were the problem. But Delta Force takes down CJ. No more Jaeger in play, but we see Red here lurking around in lockers, waiting for this push to come down. Yellow, they know this wall's going to have to open. We still have Electroshot in play, and he's going to be going over to do exactly that. He has it on his mind to open that yellow wall, but Red has it on his mind to deny it. He'll move out of lockers as Electroshot will open that door and try to push in to get this yellow wall open. Chibbles still, heartbeat sensor soon should suss out the position of these attackers now working their way up towards barrels and towards split. But Electroshock is now left alone. He'll try to get this exothermic charge, down on the wall, and it will indeed go off. The flashbangs to assist it, but now the line of sight is established all the way in. But Michigan Tech is anchored and ready to stop this execute. With 15 seconds left, this push needs to come out soon. Here come the flashes. That utility dump is necessary, but here comes Red on the flank. He'll swing. He'll try to get some shots on. He'll take down one and the other. An Electroshot will fall, and Michigan Tech a decisive round number 8.
I thought for a second that Red was shooting at a ragdoll Nomad that was just kind of like still walking, but was able to fall off the final Moroccan, as well as the lonesome Thermite in the clutch situation that really didn't stand a chance. And just like that, it's match point a little bit sooner than expected on this match of Theme Park at a scoreline of 6-2, where Drug Lab and Storage, or pardon me, rebranded Just Lab and Storage, will be on display for MTU, going to their tertiary bomb site, a bomb site that we don't see played that often because it is very difficult to defend, but does offer some really interesting and intricate possibilities for the roam game. The way that Drug can be set up, you can blast away pretty much all of the soft walls and play the bomb site from not the bomb site. You can play it from the hallway, you can play it from split, you can play it from barrels, and you can essentially employ a very, very wide horizontal roam that can try to take control of the entire first floor. Or you can go upstairs and try your best to hold on to Cafe, but typically that is ill-advised due to the very ease of access that attackers have towards that room. It shares an exterior door as a window that lets you get right in behind over on the arcade balcony, and you can be pinched from multiple angles and be stuck up. Or what is more likely, seeing the operator composition coming out of Michigan Tech, as well as the reinforcements coming through, that it is viable equally to just try to turtle it up. You have Boomer with the frost mats, meaning that Drug window is going to be an absolute death trap times 3 if you try to go in there, as well as the Super 90, the Sniper 90, that long range shotgun that can deliver blows from Narnia and puts you to a closed casket funeral.
Well, yeah, the frost play is very interesting, and especially the triple stack on that window. Michigan Tech clearly just vibing right now, feeling themselves, and really excited to just move on to map number 3. With, getting into this one, we do see the same lineup coming out from Penn State that we've seen before, and this time we see Red going for the Malusi and Chibbles going on to that Valkyrie instead of that Pulse. This site, vertical play, so important in some aspects, but really, if you don't get that horizontal push going, it doesn't matter how much vertical control you can establish, because, you can't get onto site if you can't establish that linear take. We do have 2 roamers here. That's going to be CJ and red, both positioned in the far northeast side of this map, as well as Chibbles playing upstairs in bunk and daycare. Destroyer has it on his mind to clear that out, but Chibbles will shut that right down, relegating Destroyer to his grave. Now Boomer taking quite a bit of damage, but he'll fall back. And with a minute burned in this round, Penn State have once again have their work cut out for them here. Chibbles taking the fight onto the sledge, and he will prevail. K-Bear, the next to fall, but finally, Chibbles will be taken down from his reign of terror as Delta Force delivers the final blow.
Yeah, that was a good refrag, but may have been a little too late coming out. The damage might have already been done as Chibbles picked up 2 free kills onto K-Bear as well as Destroyer. That's 2 of your main soft breachers, and now all of your soft breach utility is gone because Delta Force has been put into a grave at the hands of a well-placed shot and a well-timed flank from CJ up the yellow stairs. Now, once again, we've seen this position time and time again. It's Electroshot and Joe. It's Jaws on the Cali trying to use the vertical holes, the very few that have been opened up at the hands of the Nitro Cell, because K-Bear didn't even get inside the building. Very unfortunate for him, as his main role was to destroy that entire cafe floor and make it insanely difficult to play inside of sight, which will now be completely rent-free for the defenders to hold on to as they have to just drop into split, but that's right into the loving arms of Red, who's playing inside of that corridor a little bit ill-advised, coming onto the hot drop for Jaws, but he had to make something happen. It was a 2v4, but now it's a 1v4 with just Electroshot with the dreams of Penn State for this round. If it's clutch or kick situation, it's do or die, and he's going to have to pick up quite a few frags in order to make this happen. And it won't even get one, as MTU will get another round, making the count 7-2. Good halves in chat. Not as closely as contested as we saw coming out on Oregon, but that does mean that we're going all the way to map 3.
Well, who could have written this one in a storybook? I mean, this is as storybook as it gets. We have got map number 3 in the losers bracket finals to determine who heads to take on the Titan of Akron University, or University of Akron, excuse me. That's going to be quite a match in the grand final, no matter which of these teams can prevail after this final map. But we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to hit you with a quick break, but stick around. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Here we are with map number 3. It's Villa to decide the winner of the losers bracket of the Invite League to head over to take on Akron in the grand finals. This has been an absolute barn burner of a matchup. Thank you for joining us once again. As before, my name is Jays Wills, and I'm joined by the one and only C-Daps. How are you doing going into this map 3?
I'm a little bit tired, but some of those plays coming out of map 2 revitalized me. Mainly the TK clutch. That was insane. The CJAs. Equally insane. And I'm hoping that we're going to get just as many good rounds coming on Villa, as this is a neutral map pick. This is the leftover decider. Both of these teams shrugged their shoulders and said, we don't mind playing here. That'll be kind of fun. Let's play Villa. And MTU got to pick their side because 7 plus 5 is a little bit better than 7 plus 2. And with the round differential, they decided, let's start on the defense. We're going to feel a little bit stronger with that, with Penn State starting on the defensive in the overtime, if that gets that far. But like we said earlier, Thatcher ban every single time. Will Penn State complete the trinity of map bans, of attacker bans, being Thatcher and Maverick?
That would be no surprise. Well, the Maverick.
Yep.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Now, I'm relatively new to the caster scene overall, and I've got to say, I have casted, of the matches I've casted, only, 3 to 5 of them have had a Thatcher in play at all. He is such a default ban at this point that it is never a shocker to see him gone. Such a shame. Gone are the days that he was still on the table, and you got to see his EMPs in play. The Kaid ban will come through next. Got no surprise if we may see something like a Mira ban, maybe a Valk ban, Maestro, something along the info denial sides, but who really knows? And ban number 4, as it finally comes down, looks like it is going to be...
Probably Mira, I'm going to guess.
It's going to be Mira.
It's Mira, yeah. The bans you see before you, Thatcher, Mav, Kaid, and Mira. Those were the same 4 bans for all 3 maps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every single map. If you're a Maverick Cade main, if you're a Thatcher Mav main, Thatcher, Mira, whatever combination or permutation you want to take out of those 4 operators, sorry. You're tough out of luck. You're up the creek without a paddle because those operators have been permanently sidelined. Just not being able to be brought into the fight in this wonderful simulation that we're going to see being played on Villa. First sight, AVG, Aviator Games, widely regarded as one of the best sites on this map, but has had a little bit of a fall from grace. Typically, teams overall on Villa, this map used to be very defender-sided, but then people they figured out something. They learned about the backside horizontal take, and it is so incredibly strong on this map, where typically the meta dictated on AVG, you had to take study control, and that was not fun. It was not fun to take study control. You'd get peeked from both doorways, the hatches open, nitro cells all over the place, and cams hidden. You knew exactly when you were peeking, when you weren't peeking, what angles you were watching, and it was a death box. But now, as we're going to pan over to the other side of the map, where the short Australian man that we know and love as Mozzie, that Red is bringing to the table, will be reinforcing over on the backside, that eastern front over towards Statue. That's most likely where Michigan Tech, Penn State, are going to be starting their frontal attack. They're going to be trying to push all the way through. They're going to have to drone. Sure, you have to go through a little bit more square footage. You have to take more map control, but it's typically a little bit less contested from the defenders, who are going to be really playing maybe Red Stairs Landing, but most likely 90, then falling back onto the site where you've got angles opened up. You've maybe got a late flank coming out if the nomads that Joe is bringing aren't properly placed, and maybe getting the flank going down towards the execute.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what Joe's job is on a map like Villa. That's why Nomad almost every attacking round here, because there are so many places you can flank and really just be a thorn in the side of any attack. So you got those air jabs to place them down. Oh, the shot from Red, going to destroy the destroyer himself and take off the Ash from the play. He'll go for a second. He'll take down Joe. That's a big problem for Penn. Excuse me. Penn State there, as Delta Force finally gets a refrag, but Red just absolutely tearing apart this attack. And with 2 minutes left in the round, losing your Ash, your Nomad. That is not only 6 flash grenades gone, that's 2 breaching rounds and 3 air jabs. All of that utility shattered and taken away.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate with the timing there too, as CJ's gonna get another kill onto Delta Force, leaving it just up to K-Bear and Electro Shot. What I was gonna say is that it was unfortunate that Destroyer decided to play peekaboo right into the crosshair of the Mozzie, who systematically eliminated all of the remaining brain activity that the Ash had. And now it's a 4v2 situation for the remaining members of Penn State. Not necessarily the worst position in the world, because you have a general idea of where most of the players on the MTU defense are going to be playing. You're going to have one inside of Vault, one behind the bar, and probably one inside of maps, just kind of swinging wherever. Yeah, that's where the Jaeger is, as well as you have to know that Red is still on the board and has the ability to flank at any given moment, because Jaws did not get the air jabs off due to being an early pick. There's going to be some floor banging going on through the drone hole. Boomer trying to tag up some damage, able to get a little bit onto K-Bear, but CJ swings right into the loving arms of Electro Shot. That's the Thermite turning into a Fragmite and going to be trying to get the entry picks onto site with the bomb still in the back pocket, but he vaults right there as Red will paint the walls with his namesake, dropping off Electro Shot, and TK with a beautiful headshot onto K-Bear will be the final decisive action to allow MTU to take an early lead.
Well, that was a decisive round, if I've ever seen one, from Michigan Tech. They really had that round from the first 30 seconds. I felt like it was won. They took out the Ash, the Nomad. At that point, you have your roamers who have free roam of the entire map for the remaining 2 minutes of the round. And, well, what they did with that 2 minutes was systematically eliminate all the remaining attackers. It was one by one. Red found 3. TK and CJ with the last few, but it was really just a beautiful performance from Michigan Tech, and that's going to allow them to move on to their second preferred site, which in this case appears to be dining room and kitchen. Usually you'll see split, that is trophy and statuary, as your next choice, but heading downstairs, it's all going to be about the vertical play.
Yeah, vertical play is what reigns supreme on this tertiary bomb site. But maybe not even tertiary. We can call this, I don't know the word for fourth, but actually, oh man, I just
had to try.
Yeah, I just said something. I thought we were in living room for some reason. That's why I was kind of shaken off. But nope, we are in kitchen and dining. As the sleeplessness is getting to me. It's finals week after all. We're all students. He can give me a little bit of slack, I hope. But overall, MTU are going to have to try to employ some sort of vertical roam to deny the vertical pressure that people such as... Actually, there's no breaching charges on the side of PSU. They might not be able to go for this vertical pressure, as they might have expected this to be a trophy statuary round. They have since droned out the site and know that, yes, it is kitchen and dining, but do they have the right composition? There's no breaching charges on either the Nomad or the Zofia, and there's a crucial lack of an operator such as a Buck or a Sledge in their lineup.
Well, doesn't seem to matter for them right now, as they're still just getting this vertical pressure started. Boomer on the Clash, a very unique pick to say the least, especially on this site where vertical play can pretty much shut down a Clash from doing anything that a Clash does, which is just stand and block a doorway. Delta Force will start us off. The opening pick going in the favor of Penn State, as Chibbles will be the first to fall. No more Castle hanging out in astronomy for Michigan Tech. But with 2 minutes remaining in this round, the attackers have ample time to start opening this floor up a little bit and start getting that vertical pressure. Like you said, though, it's going to be tough to do that without a lot of breaching charges or a sledgehammer or a skeleton key in your possession. Yes, you have those breaching rounds, those impacts from Zofia, but that is going to be that utility devoted to that position destroyer. Taking out Red, the last remaining roamer upstairs in Plains and Games, and he'll be taken out, relegated to his 6-foot grave.
Yeah, really well done so far from the attackers, as they don't necessarily need the vertical pressure when you have just the right holes opened up, as K-Bear is going to tag TK to a lot of HP, and the Nitro Cell will not miss the Hail Mary getting swatted down by the defensive team if this was a football game. But no, this is Siege, where there's still a minute left on the clock and a clash still alive. That Boomer is going to be locking down any area that Penn State is trying to push in. There's still castle barricades inside of Memo, but an Ash right next to it might make quick work with a well-placed breaching round, or even the soft wall that's right next to it. Valkyrie stuck in a rock between a hard place, not really knowing where to play, as the burns from above is going to make CJ feel a little bit of pressure. The wall being opened up, the Ash swinging out, only 1 HP for Destroyer, and that's going to make 0 as CJ lands the decisive body shot and makes it a little bit more of a manageable clutch situation. But in the meantime of that chaos, the wall got open. Joe Jaws cutting off the flank and is going to start pushing in towards China. The only one to contest him will be TK on the Valkyrie, as CJ goes down at the hands of Delta Force, leaving just Boomer and TK into the clutch situation. Another shot coming out of TK, but it's the crossfire coming out of Delta Force, delivering the triple kill coming out. Electroshot beginning on the plant, has to stick it, no time left. The clash swinging out, and Delta Force removes her head from her shoulders. A beautifully well-placed execute coming out of Penn State as they exploded onto site with the fury of 1,000 gods, and were able to take this bomb site into their hands and tie up the score.
Well, in those last few seconds, I mean, Boomer's really only choice would be slowly back out the doorway with that shield and just kind of go outside and run away. Maybe hop in one of the cars and just drive off this map, because there's no way you're going to win in a 1v3 with your dinky SMG against 3 gunners when the plant is going down. Yes, valiant effort swinging around there with the SMG, but it was shut down right away. Did not really matter. It's Penn State who looked very strong on that push the whole way through. It's very interesting, the rounds, the way these have played out. It was decisive victory for MTU, followed by a pretty decisive victory for PSU. This is very good Siege we're seeing here, and we're going to be headed over to Trophy and Statuary to complete our rotation, and this is going to be the 3rd defensive round for MTU as they try to salvage this one.
Yeah, it's looking really good. If the last round is any sort of indicative fashion for Penn State, that execute was clean. It was squeaky clean, looking really good. But Michigan Tech on their first defense looked equally as strong, as they'll be going to a similar bomb site to where they found success on Aviator Games, this time all the way across the 2nd floor in the form of Trophy Statuary. Maybe a little bit ill-advised for Michigan Tech to try to continue a lot of momentum going down for their tertiary bomb site as opposed to the secondary bomb site that we're going to see being put on display right now. But it was kind of close until the very end, where somebody by the name of Delta Force just racked up and padded the kills department and systematically eliminated every single person that MTU still had left alive.
But now we're headed over to their tertiary bomb site. It was typically the secondary one, but we're going to be looking for this very horizontal clear from the attackers. Very often you will see a Plains and Games all the way to Trophy clear. You'll take control of Study, take control of Aviator, take control of Games, work your way through 90 and landing, only to then execute onto Trophy. Then you'll be supported maybe by some players in Master, but the Roam, the extension's going to work out. CJ, what a shot onto the repelling destroyer. He's going to get destroyed himself there. Good attempt, I guess, coming in from that side, but that was telegraphed, and CJ just punishes him for it. We did see that extension of utility all the way over to that Plains Endgame side of the map, but soon the attackers will start to work their way up into Study and get this cleared out. But they know that they have to be worried about this flank. We do have Red playing below, and we do have a CJ keeps on spraying shots all the way to Study door. K-Bear almost got her head taken off there, but she'll back off, narrowly escaping with her life.
Yeah, Red in a precarious situation, ready to flank main stairs whenever he can. He's just sort of playing really passive, knows that there's a nomad, so most likely will be air jabbed off as we hear that very indicative sound cue. But Delta is just right inside of sight and is able to take out CJ, sort of ending his reign of terror across the entire map where he was just shift Wing everywhere. But it's going to be through the hard wall. It's TK with the nitro to deliver a beautiful explosion from below. All those floorboards flying up around Delta Force put him quick under, as pre-fires from Boomer will not quite do any damage. But it's a 3v4 situation for Penn State to try to overcome. And there's quite a few people off site trying to get these flanks going on, mainly TK. He's going to be the first one as he's trying to get the headshot onto the Nomad. Put her down, but not out. Can't quite get it off as the Deagle in hand will be refragged out by K-Bear with that beautiful G36C Fnatic skin. APAC fans everywhere sort of clamoring for that glorious electroshock. It is going to be able to take out Chibbles, leaving it at an even 2-2 man count. But it's Boomer and it's Red against Electroshot and K-Bear, where Breach hasn't been opened but might just happen here, as Red's going to take that time to swing, and Boomer will do the same right onto K-Bear. Two beautifully timed swings at the in synchronization will allow MTU to get another round and take the lead at 2-0.
Well, that was beautifully timed swing around there onto the master wall, just eliminating the final attackers one by one. You got to give it up to MTU for a brilliant defense. Their roam, their extension into planes and games, it worked beautifully. We saw Chibbles on the Valkyrie miss most of her shots with the MPX. It is a P shooter after all, so even if you connect with the body, it's not going to do much. But eventually was able to find that kill on the flank. And while she was traded off right away, the damage was done. You lost your Nomad, you lost your trophy presence, and with only 2 players remaining to pressure on a statuary, it's going to be very tough to find those hard-positioned anchors ready to take those fights and just holding those angles. And on a map like Villa, I always like to highlight the anchors playing the site. Because yes, these roamers like CJ, like Red and Chibbles even, they will light up the scoreboard. They'll pop off. They'll be the top of the leaderboard, but they are allowed to do their jobs by brilliant anchor play. If your anchors aren't doing their jobs, if they don't know how to hold passive angles, pick their fights appropriately, then your roamers cannot do their jobs. And that is why I always like to shout out my support players, especially on the map like Villa, where roam is such a big presence.
Yeah, support players rise up because they don't have a support player, they don't have a smoke or a mute, they have to burn a nitro cell to make the rotate hole. Love for the British boys, where the SAS love coming out with that Mossberg and SMG-11 combination that you would have been able to keep a lethal piece of utility that TK will no longer have to stop and execute. Maybe they should have brought him. That's where the love I'm coming from is. But once again, where the attack is coming from will be a backside horizontal push. Last time, MTU kind of lit up the scoreboard early on down below. That was Red on the Mozzie, who has now picked up the mantle of the Jaeger. A little bit of a better gun and gadget, but not quite as lucrative of being not droned. Last time around, he was inside a memo. He was able to stop the bottom-up pressure that was both the Ash and the Nomad of Jaws and Destroyer not coming through onto its full effect, as he does seem to know that the same flank won't work twice, and the attacker seemed to know we probably shouldn't challenge him inside a memo because he made us eat our words and made the round incredibly difficult.
Well, the utility devoted to the trophy and statuary side not going to be much of a factor. The attackers easily clearing that out and getting control up into 90 and pressuring on to the aviator doorway now. Delta Force going to open us up, take down the Valkyrie. No more Chibbles, relegated to the position that the Valkyrie knows best, just sitting on cams for the remainder of the round. But as this attacking pressure continues to mount, they're going to get these drones up, as now we have 2 attackers just bunched up on red stairs. But most of the defenders now just hanging out in sight, waiting for their opportunity to strike. CJ still in study, not getting any pressure from main right now, so this is a viable position for him to hold. Red is holding main to watch the back of CJ, but here comes the flashes trying to burn some utility, as Vault Wall will now be opened up by the exothermic charge. Duamai is going to have to reposition. with a minute remaining on this round. The attacking pressure is starting to mount. More flashes go out. Utility is burned. And now Nomad, that's going to be Joe. He'll swing around and looking for anyone. Trying to find a Valchem as well, but he will not. Destroyer going to get almost taken down. But Joe rather will win that fight and actually get a double kill for Joe there. And all of a sudden, it's up to TK and Red. Delta Force finds another, so TK, last man standing. World against him. He's going to have to find 5. And the ace clutch. Almost impossible situation as now they've relinquished aviator control. He'll find 1. That's a headshot onto K-Bear, but he's going to have to find 4 more. With 30 seconds to go, the plant is still not going down yet. The attacker just waiting their time. And there it goes. Delta Force with the final blow onto TK, taking us back to a 2-2 even scoreline.
Yeah, really great attack coming out of Penn State as they made the necessary adjustments of not dying everybody downstairs. You know, that was really good. They had enough people to go for their execute as they took the nearly flawless round. We'll give it the JV2 stock, if you know Smash terminology, of the only time they lost anybody was when it was a 1v5, and it's sort of like an impactless frag to a certain extent, but they all count the same on TK's stats. But the main number that we care about is that's 2-2 scoreline coming out of Penn State, evening it all up and looking pretty good. Overall, you have to say that Villa, even though it's not as defender-sided as it used to be like a 5-1-4-2 kind of map for the defense. Now it's a 4-2-3-3 kind of map, either one of those outcomes not necessarily being super surprising. So if that narrative is going through, PSU has almost done their job. They're naturally going to be hungry. They want to continue grabbing rounds to make their defensive burden a little bit easier and a little bit less stressful, as this is a win or go home situation. It's either you get 3rd place here coming out, or you just kind of sit back and have to wait to go against the Titans that is Akron in the finals. So maybe not necessarily the greatest thing in the world, but Penn State or Michigan Tech will be very, very happy at reaching the finals, because that is a feat in itself, and maybe they will be the David to beat down the Goliath that we know as Akron.
I mean, yeah, it takes someone. You got to at least try to beat Akron. I mean, yes, it's almost impossible to get done, as Akron have proven they've gone undefeated in every collegiate league in every single match they've played. So it's definitely quite a task for either of these teams. But no doubt, you got to try to take the fight to Akron, maybe. I mean, there's so much VOD to review. There's so much info you can have on that team because they are so well established. Maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to mount such an incredible performance. But right now, we're focusing on this one, and it looks like this one could absolutely be a showstopper like our last 2 maps have been. We've been back and forth all night. And on this map as well, in the first 2 picks, not going back and forth, just going in the favor of Michigan Tech. That's going to be the one and only CJ. He's looking for a 3rd. He won't find it, but losing your Zofia and your Ash so early on, this could be a problem. Joe will answer, taking down 1, no 2. He'll deliver both Chibbles and CJ to their early graves, and that is exactly what Penn State needed to bring this round back.
Yeah, really well done to even it all up, as it could have been in a situation where didn't look so great on the round, but now it's definitely doable. You got 2 for the price of 2. Sure, you lost your Ash and Zofia, so the utility game isn't going to be very fun, especially with the shields that Boomer is bringing in and the plethora of nitro cells onto the side of the MTU roster, because this defense is designed to really have the roamers come back and then full turtle away, denying the plant over towards the vault door, as well as just stopping a lot of the breaching. You don't have explosives to try to get that mute jammer off the wall. You're going to have to send K-Bear down below, but K-Bear is down below 6 feet under. Red able to get a beautiful kill onto the IQ. And now it's a 2v3 situation. No longer is the man count even, but Jaws has pushed his way all the way up classical. And that's where Electroshot inside a 90 will rejoin his teammate.
Well, now this push only has 2 places to come from. You can either walk in Aviator Door or walk in Games Door. Electroshot still has those exothermic charges in pocket. He will be able to open this vault wall as long as it's not electrified. There are still 2 bandit batteries on the table, but the Electroshot's going to actually elect to go open up the wall into Games, looking at that billiards table. But now Joe going to start to wide swing this, look for any heads he can find. but he'll come up unsuccessful at the moment. But there he goes. He'll look around and secure the triple kill for him. This is his round, supported by all those boys in Twitch chat hyping him up all night. So far, it's working for him, at least on this round. But 20 seconds to go. Here come the flashes. TK is going to be completely blinded, but he's going to be supported by Red, who's actually off-site slightly over behind the vault door. Jaws is looking for it. He'll find it. That's a quad kill for Joe. He's only got one more to find for that ace, and they should be aware of that player's position. The Nitro Cell goes out. Will prove unsuccessful, and now it is a post plant. It's going to be all up to TK. Now he's turned into the attacker, but he may be felled by one of these players either behind bar or on this rotate. TK finds one. Now to win it, it's going to be Joe. He'll have to find the ace. TK fakes the diffuser a little bit. Pros don't fake, but he exactly will be faking. With 5 seconds left on that diffuse, he actually might choose to stick it here. Now it's up to Joe. He's going to have to push in and find him. Oh, he'll get off the diffuser at the last second. Joe kind of caught out with the pistol, running around the Rosie style here. Back and forth and back and forth. Who's going to prevail? Joe keeps looking for him, but he doesn't know where he's coming from. The melee attempt, and Joe with the ace in the clutch round. What a play from him to deliver such a performance in this important round.
That was the longest gunfight that I have seen.
I ran out of air because I didn't know what was going on.
What a play by Joe. I'm just waiting to see chat explode like a firework on 4th of July, because that's what Jaws did. All 5 kills into his name, as well as the most important one at the very end. A bit of an awkward engagement, but he just took it the best he could. He just wasted all of the ammo of TK. He was dancing to the samba song, doing the 2-step, everything. Couldn't hit him. He was too elusive. Dodged under the knife like Neo and was able to take out the bandit, who was just trying to do anything he could to take that round. But it was marked for the side of Penn State as they take the lead and have secured at least a split half coming in on their attacks. And that's looking pretty good for them so far, especially because they have indicated by their overtime choice that they do prefer the defensive side of Villa. So that is quite boding well for the Penn State team.
Not only that, but the momentum is in their favor right now. That's 2 back-to-back rounds, and this is looking very good for them. I mean, imagine they take this one 4-2 attacker-favored Villa. That's something I never thought I'd see, and that is exactly, if you're a Penn State fan, that's exactly what you want to see. That's basically, you know, I would think almost guaranteeing them the victory if they know what they're doing on this map. I mean, both teams really have been so strong tonight, but in these last few rounds, it really seems that Penn State is getting the better of Michigan just a little bit. Yes, we've seen some very individual plays from both of these rosters, but in that last round, it was Joe who was on top.
Yeah, really well done for him, as now he's sitting at 7-2, looking quite strong. The only one better in the lobby so far is somebody by the name of Delta Force on the Zofia at 9-3, as it has been the Jaws and Delta show coming forward so far. As now the horizontal push once again will be employed by the Penn State attack. They're very methodical. They need to drone out and understand exactly where all the pressure is coming from. And they seem to know that CJ's sitting on the hatch. He's going to get ass charged from down below. He's going to get dropped right into the loving arms of Destroyer. But CJ still wins those. The Roni coming out. The close corner machine still going on to display. As I'm sure CJ just had a mini panic attack. But so did K-Bear, as Red on the Jaeger is going to swing right up and shut down all of Study.
Well, this is definitely not the way Penn State wanted to start this round after that dominant performance on the last one. Oh my, especially that drop down by CJ. That's a tough way to lose a gunfight if you're Destroyer. You know where CJ is, you caught him completely off guard. The breaching round took him down to half health, but CJ just got the better of him, and TK will get the better of Delta Force as well. Delta Force did find one onto Boomer before falling down into his grave, but that's good refrag there from TK to keep the man advantage in the favor of Michigan Tech at 4 versus 2. It's going to be on Electroshot and Joe once again. This is a very similar position to last round, but they're going to have to contend with Chibbles and the M590 just waiting around the corner to body him if he pushes in this doorway.
Yeah, you don't want to challenge the shotgun right next to you, especially when you have the diffuser and you're going to be a very crucial part of this PSU attack, as it's CJ to deliver that. That's a beautiful shot, as even he's surprised with how wonderful of a bullet he was able to snake right through the doorway onto the head of the thermite. And now it's Jaws trying to defend the Alamo. He has 41 bullets, make that 22 left in his 74M, trying to pre-fire away, but it feels like the walls are collapsing against him. If anybody could do it, it would be Jaws, but it's not looking that likely, as we're seeing a Mozzie snake, and that Mozzie goes down, punished for the over-aggression, but Red, still holding the angle, is going to make Jaws go down and secure the 3-3 half. Even split so far, but with the defense looming on the horizon, will MTU's attacks be as potent as Penn State's?
I mean, if this first half has been any indicator of the next half to come, I think we're in for a fantastic matchup, and I would not be surprised if we head to overtime, maybe even round 15 could be on the horizon for us. Taking a look at our scoreboard at the half, we see Delta Force rounding out the top for Penn State, and CJ, Red, and TK all just popping off together, really spreading the love around, doing all the work themselves. Unfortunately, there's still one player on MTU who's yet to find a kill, but I'm sure if he starts to get those frags in this attacking half, this one could swing around in their favor a little bit. But we're headed over to Plains and Games, the most preferred site on Villa, and now we're going to have to see if Penn State has what it takes to lay down the line on this defense.
Yeah, they're starting off on AVG, and it's a little bit of a different setup coming out of PSU, as they're opting for a lot more utility than we saw be brought on the MTU side. MTU's defense did really heavily rely on the roam, where it seems here for Penn State, they're going to be more focused on the anchoring game. You've got the nitro cell that Jaws is going to be bringing. He's a marksman with the shotgun as well as the SMG-11. Then you've got Electro Shot with the weapon that we've seen him pop off so many times with, that we know and love as the Alda. 81 bullets can send a lot of bullets down range, as well as a whole lot of pain coming through on that light machine gun, making the execute very, very difficult for Michigan Tech, who does seem to really like that 20-second style as they push into sights. But that's kind of exactly what Penn State is playing for. They have wall denial, they have nitro cells, they've got shields and Wamai magnets and impact grenades to open up rotates, as well as the Alda and close corner kits in the form of that SMG-11 shotgun combination that I touched on briefly, that will allow this execute to be insanely difficult coming out of the attacking side. But that's if they waste time going for the backside pressure. But that might not be in the cards, considering the locations of the MTU attackers are really centric on the front side. They want to push study. They do have a Cali. They can get those mute jammers off the walls with relative ease, but can they push into study, considering that Destroyer is sitting on main stairs with a shield, some Wamai magnets, and a very powerful rifle in the form of the AUG.
Well, this utility consumption simulator meta is no doubt about to play out on this round. We do see the drones trying to suss out this position, as well as Delta Force taking your classic line of sight all the way over from Master onto the study balcony. He won't find anybody just yet, but as CJ will just push up, actually taking out Destroyer. Oh my, that's an unfortunate situation for the Nomad. Not exactly sure what the play was there, taking on a player anchored behind a deployable shield. The Selma charge going out to try to pop that deployable shield. It will, but Destroyer will take down the ace for that shield. A good trade, if you ask me. A shield for the life of a hard breacher. That's a win if you're Penn State for sure.
Yeah, especially when you're going to take out TK as well, leaving it all up to Red and Boomer in a 5v2 situation. It's not looking good for MTU, especially as Destroyer's going to pick up a second kill onto the Cali, as well as drop the diffuser inside of Study, leaving only Red in a 1v5 situation. He's going to go up the red stairs, quite fitting for the Ash to make this the way to go in. Shoots a dead body, a little bit of client-side debris coming out as the Maestro cams are going to spot him out, propelling his entire location here, but that's Delta Force swinging when he probably shouldn't have. Red will punish that over-aggression and try to get some momentum rolling, as he has 4 more members to take out. More pre-fires coming out. Shroud Charm on the gun. Aim God coming out. Will the Ash be able to do it? If anybody could do it, it would be Red. But K-Bear on the Valk is on a little bit of a flank. going in. Only 1-6 so far. K-Bear's trying to find his footing into this game. Spots the Ash, but doesn't react. A little bit interesting so far. Choosing to play passive as he will now start creeping up. Does Red know he's there? Seems to right here, and he will take the head right off of the Valkyrie. Now there's only 3 more to go. Barbed wire going out. That is definitely saying, yes, I'm going to try to go in Skull Door. Flash grenades coming out. Crossfires being employed by the defenses. There's not very much time. Frags are the only way for Red to win this. Trying to pad up his stats. Flashbangs through the rotate hold. The Alta starts spraying. He's stuck on the shield. He has nowhere to go, and he's going to go right into the loving arms of Joe. A beautiful fitting for this beautiful round coming out of Penn State, as the Black Ice Mossberg will be the final buckshot right into the body of the Ash.
Well, nearly a flawless round there from Penn State, but Red did his best to get a couple more kills, pad that KD a little bit before hitting his grave. But a dominant round from Penn State, coming out on this first round and really sending a message that they know what they're doing on defense. And not only that, but they can do it very, very well.
Yeah, really, really well so far, as that's essentially a flawless round, as when it's a 1v5 situation, sure, it got a little bit close, but the diffuser was still always into the hands of the defenders. They knew that it was inside of Study. They knew that there was no way the Ash was going to be able to get there, and the only way they could win that was to kill all 5 of the members, and they had just enough of them playing passive, not over peaking, while the rest of them were just trying to get some kills. That was just kind of free feeding into the hands of Red's stat line, which he will be very happy about later, as he looks fondly on this game of being 9-4 so far, playing entry. Looking quite good, but not as good as Joe, not as good as Jaws, not as good as Delta Force either, who both are doing very, very well. 9-3 for Joe, 11-5 for Delta. And that has been the difference maker so far, as Penn State has finally taken the lead on this map of Villa.
Well, it's no surprise to see that our second site here is Trophy. This is a little bit different than what we saw Michigan Tech opt for. They headed towards Kitchen and Dining next, but it appears that Penn State going for the more traditional play. We do see a castle, not the most common pick on this site, but when you do see him, you often see some tomfoolery going on around the master wall. Sometimes you'll make a rotate into master using that wall, and possibly even like securing closet using that castle barricade. But this time, looks like those castles will be deployed elsewhere. Not gonna open that rotate into master, nor will they be holding closet hard whatsoever. We all saw a couple of sprays there come in from Red, but Electro Shot was just a few seconds ahead and got that castle barricade down on the window before he got his head taken off. We do have 2 roamers on the Planes and Games side of this map. That is going to be both Joe and Delta Force, just waiting for anyone to come into their loving arms. But for now, the pressure will just be mounting over on the master side and on the roof a little bit. It does not seem that this attack is going to bother with a, full top floor clear like we saw Penn State do on their side of things.
Yeah, they're just kind of going directly into the belly of the beast. They want to push Astro, as evident by their droning. There's a lot of rotate holes and utility allocated over towards that side, as well as somebody named Delta Force going on the flank inside of the basement, an area that typically isn't utilized unless you're going for the sneaky maneuvers, such as we're seeing the German operator slowly sneak up and maybe try to catch CJ off guard. But a little bit of sound cues is making CJ think that I might be in a little bit of danger, but he's sort of foregoing that intuition so far. He's peeking up the stairs. He seems to think that there's somebody behind the Astro side, but it's on the split door. That's where K-Bear is, as TK will also be going down Astro, as Delta has made his way all the way into the deep basement. He doesn't seem to want to push that flank. He's going to go for somewhere else, as the wall with X-Kairos pellets will be opened up, bisecting the site and making it very difficult for anybody, mainly Electro Shot, on the castle to rotate.
Well, this attacking pressure, yes, it is starting to build, and we do see CJ in a potentially good position. We also see TK trying to get some shots from below, but the flank from Delta Force will pay off. TK will get taken down. No more of that vertical nonsense, says Delta Force. CJ swings on, but gets absolutely punished. K-Bear with the SMG-11 takes his head right off. Red with the follow-up takes out the roaming Delta Force, but it's a 4 versus 3 with with 30 seconds to go, and the attackers have not made any headway into clearing this utility. Boomer takes quite a bit of damage as Destroyer will swing out onto the prone Hibana, and more shots come in from landing. That's going to be Hibana hitting the dirt in the down but not out stage, but Red swings. He'll take out Electro's shot. That's a double kill on the round. He'll swing again, take out K-Bear. That's a triple kill for Red. And now it's the attackers in the advantageous position, but Destroyer changes it around just like that, and now it's all up to Red. He's found 3. He'll need to find 2 more to win this round. Searching desperately, but the prone Destroyer destroys Red. A little bit of teabag in there, some BM to end out the round.
And right there, that is a 5-3 lead, as 2 straight rounds on the primary and secondary bomb site have gone right into the back pocket of Penn State, as now we will be seeing the tertiary site come onto display, as the potential for the perfect site rotation is still alive for PSU, which would cement them into quite a favorable outcome of 6-3, needing only a single more round out of the remaining bit in order to take the map into their favor. However, on MTU side, they're a resilient squad. They're not going to roll over easily, and they need to win this round. This is the most decisive round of the map and the series that they've played so far, that if they lose, then it probably might mean wraps. This might be the time that you take out the keys and start cranking up the engine of the bus, because you will be going home.
Like you said, we are on to our tertiary bomb site. This time, Michigan Tech not electing to try planes and games again. Not going to try split again. Going for site choice number 3, hoping, just hoping, to hold on to a little bit of this match and try to get something back as they head to kitchen and dining. We have a very information denial lineup coming out from Michigan Tech. From Penn State, rather, excuse me. I got things a little mixed up there. Joe will be on the mute, and Destroyer will head to the Mozzie. But it is, definitely got a bit confused there. My 3 brain cells not operating at full capacity right now.
Hey, I did it too.
Yeah, we're both on the same page there. But I was just saying Michigan Tech on defense, but no, it's Penn State on defense, heading to their tertiary bomb site after they successfully took both planes and games and trophy, and they're going to be looking to continue that momentum to get this round win.
Yeah, overall, the Pulse, the Roam, and a whole lot of Nitros is making it very evident that Penn State is expecting a vertical top-down take, but with the way the lineup for the attacking side is looking, it might be a horizontal variety. Never mind, there is somebody, that's the Sledge of, I believe, TK. Yes, it is, all the way upstairs droning, meaning that Sledge is going to do what Sledges want to do. Get inside and start using that hammer. But look, you've got the mute, you've got Joe, just walking around with a green brick of explosive goodness in his hands, waiting for the wonderful call out of the mouth of his teammate Electroshot to feed him a free kill and deny vertical pressure from Michigan Tech. It's like a mama duck with the babies right now. Everybody with a nitro cell on the side of the Penn State defense just following around the Pulse, getting all of that wonderful info and trying to pick up this free kill onto the unsuspecting TK.
Well, TK has worked his way up, and little does he know, it's a absolute spider web of death. There's defenders everywhere around him, and just like that, they will take him down. He will be supported, though, by Chibbles as CJ finds the pick onto Delta Force, but Destroyer answers it back and takes down Red. TK is still down, is in a tough position, might be able to pick it up. Yes, he will be revived, as CJ takes quite a bit of shots onto K-Bear, taking the smoke down. Pretty low HP. The vertical shots still coming out from both teams here, but Michigan Tech have now equalized the score line here. The man count, making it 4 versus 4. Both of the rosters here hurting a little bit. The health dwindling for them, but it's Destroyer who's going to dwindle down. CJ, the final blow onto him. So it's a 4 versus 3. Now Michigan Tech gaining a bit of traction.
Yeah, and it's looking quite good so far because they have the man advantage and they brought TK back into the round. A little bit of field medic duties coming out of Boomer, who also was on the hard support with the diffuser. That will have to be escorted into sight, but it's the smoke canisters acting as a fog that allows CJ to get a kill onto K-Bear. the visibility is sort of awkward on those. It's semi-opaque, and the acute eyes of CJ was able to spot out the lonesome smoke and put him down, leaving just Joe, just Jaws, and Electroshot, the lonesome two members of PSU, against the world. Boomer goes down at the hands of Electroshot. That's the UMP coming out, but the UMP got caught out as CJ goes for the quad kill, and CJ goes for the ace. His second ace of the series, once on Theme Park and once again on Villa, as he, like I said, is not going to allow his team to roll over easy. This map is going to take the distance as the scoreline gets closer at 5-4.
CJ, oh my goodness, delivering 5 kills, the massive ace to try to muster this MTU momentum and get them moving forward on their attacking half. Really had no idea that ace was coming. It was just one pick at a time, just one, another, and another, and another. And finally, the beautiful double kill on the remaining anchors to seal it out. Brilliant play from CJ. Is that his second ace on the night, C-Dubs?
Yeah, he got one on Theme Park and one on Villa.
Unbelievable work from him. He really is just a star of this league. And, well, we're headed over to Plains and Games once again. This is the round that was nearly a flawless round, or technically a flawless round from Penn State last time they were here. And on their mind, emulate some of that success and do it again.
Yeah, and it's looking so good so far for Penn State. Besides that last round, it was so close until the very end, as Chibbles is going to drop in chat. Use code Chibbles to get 0% off.
There it is.
You know,
Gotta throw it in there.
Yeah, he's making a joke that he is currently very good friends with Owen. You know, Owen's 7. Has 2 assists so far. And, you know, he's still doing his job. He's getting the breaches open. But at the end of the day, not necessarily doing the job on the fragging department, which he has been sort of the X factor. He's had some really good games and some really Villa games so far coming out on this series, but he needs to pick it up in order to keep up with the fragging potential that Penn State has shown so far, where they're going back down to a bomb site that they did insanely well on. They're going to Aviator Games, their primary site, where if you remember correctly, it was a 1v5 for Red to try to clutch.
Well, we're going to see if Red can put forward some of that energy just a bit earlier in the round instead of in that 1v5 situation. We do see Delta Force trying to get a peek onto those players working their way to the bottom of main stairs. He won't be able to see anyone for now, as this main stairs pressure is really coming out in force. All the utility going to be burned, and the flash is going to come up. And now Destroyer's in a very dangerous position. He may have to back off this quite soon. He's going to be sandwiched here with a crossfire from study door and from main. His IQ now pushes up main stairs. He will fall back smartly, heading back onto Games. We still have a roamer, and that's Delta Force. He could really be a problem for this MTU attack if they're not careful. They haven't put a lot of effort into this roam clear, and he'll take a few shots onto TK. He won't be able to connect, and now his position will be sussed out. Looks like TK looked up. Not exactly sure where those shots came from, but now they will be aware they have to look for the roamer downstairs. Delta Force still hiding around, just waiting around in library. Actually, I don't think they know he's there. Yeah, they don't. TK's going for vertical play right now. If Delta's on it, he could absolutely swing on TK and take him out. I'm not sure how TK has no idea after those shots peppered out. And no, he doesn't, and Delta will prevail and take down TK. And just like that, now it's Michigan Tech down a man with 1:10 to go.
Destroyer has taken up the mantle on that Aviator door. He wants to swing, but knows it probably isn't the best idea unless he's absolutely sure of the area where the players are. Just like that, he's able to drop down the Zofia of CJ into the DB&O state. With being Zofia, you know, she's built different. She wants it more, can withstand through sheer willpower to bring herself back into the fight, but will probably just be revived for that little bit of extra health. Never mind, she did withstand, as the rest of the team is worried watching the angles that they just opened up with the breach. A quick flash. That's a red flash, not the superhero, but that was Ace crossing in as Delta Force is going to be able to take out 2. Boomer gets a refrag onto Delta. Boomer's also able to take out Jaws. It's a 3v2 situation, but there's only 30 seconds left on the clock for MTU to get this done. CJ with the pre-fire is able to take out Destroyer. Destroyer, but it's the refrag from behind as K-Bear is going to drop him down. It's all up to Boomer, and he has to go against 81 bullets, as well as K-Bear, who's finally awakened and doesn't have a nitro cell, instead brought the shield. But the smoke canisters are going to try to block off any lines of sight, provide coverage for Boomer to type away on this diffuser. He has a little bit of extra time to get off. He's going to swing pre-firing, but it doesn't matter as more bullets equals more kills. Electro shot, so cool, calm, and collected in the clutch situation, is able to ice it out, stop all the pressure, and drop off Boomer to take match point for Penn State.
Well, Penn State made it interesting by losing that last round, but still keeping on the pressure, keeping their absolute foot on the neck of this MTU attack, not letting it gain any more speed than it did after that first win on Kitchen and Dining. But we're heading back to Trophy and Statuary. Penn State, they won this one last time they were here, and this is indeed match point 6-4. A win here would take Penn State straight to the grand finals, where they would face off against Akron. But MTU, they've got it on their mind to stop this in its tracks. They need a win here, and they're going to be desperately searching for it. It's not out of the question that they can make this happen, and maybe they can do it twice in a row, because that's exactly what they're going to need to do to force an overtime on Villa.
Yeah, so far, the MTU attack did really struggle on this bomb site because of somebody named Red just popping, it's getting late. It was Delta Force popping off last time around on the flank, as well as Jaws putting in a couple of kills. And now you finally brought in the third piece of the Trident coming out. That's Destroyer catching up to Joe, catching up to Jaws, as 8 and 9 kills apiece for the veterans is looking quite strong, as they are knocking on the door of sending MTU to the Shadow Realm. That would be the exit of the CEA Invite Tournament. With this single round, if Penn State is able to replicate the success that we saw last time they came to this bomb site, they'll punch their ticket all the way to the grand finals, where they will face off against Akron, which will be a very, very difficult map. But who knows? Anything can happen, and that's what we're here for. This is Siege at its core. This is two teams as close as they can be, fighting for their lives. MTU, they're the ones with their backs against the wall. They're the ones feeling the pressure. They're the ones that have to rise to the occasion and overcome the adversity that they put themselves into as they're trying to prevail on this comeback.
Well, getting into this round, we've got 40 seconds burned, and now the pressure looks like it's coming from Study's side. They're going to try for that top side clear, working their way all the way over towards Trophy. But it's Joe and it's Delta Force who have it on their mind to stop this clear. It's going to hold this angle with the MP5, looking for anyone. CJ here, trying to figure out where Delta Force is positioned. But Delta Force knows better. Destroyer starts us off and really starts the momentum in Penn State's favor. The F comes out in chat. Not sure why that is warranted. Sure, it was a great shot. Now we got Joe spraying through the wall, but CJ here to contest this. He'll swing up in Classical Hall, take out the camera on his way, but he's still not supported by any teammates right now. He needs some support, at least a drone to guide him in, because he is absolutely trapped right now. He doesn't know where to go, and we see Joe and Delta Force playing extremely passive with a man advantage. They know they can play the 11th man. The 11th man here is on their side, and that is Time.
Yeah, Time, that's that number ticking down, always into the favor of the defenders, especially when you still have a very, very heavy defensive roam being employed. As Jaws is feeling the pressure, SMG-11 in hand is going to get peeked by the Zofia and put under. CJ picks up the kill onto Joe, but at what cost? The cost of your IQ, the cost of 2 minutes on the clock. Will they be able to overcome this, especially when they don't know that Delta Force is right behind them? Could flank at any given moment, but Destroyer taking a lot of damage inside of sight. Delta Force on the flank, trying to just creep, stay sneaky, use bullet and wonderful trigger discipline to strike right at the right moment, waiting for the correct timing, able to just find the head of CJ. He's able to get a beautiful kill so far, and that might just take the wind out of the sails of the MTU attack entirely. It's a 4v3 situation. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock. Chipple's still stuck inside of Master. Nitro Cell raining through, and that will be the death of him, as Boomer will fall down. Delta Force red. The whole entire kill feed writes blue, and it's gonna be everybody. Boomer going massive. MTU takes the round out of nowhere. Wonderful plays. They keep their dreams alive. They explode onto sight and continue this match.
Boomer with the plays. Oh my god. That round was in Penn State's hands the entire time, but Boomer single-handedly brought it back at a time where his team needed him. He was nearly silent on the scoreboard all game, but he walks into sight and just assassinates the remaining defenders. If MTU are able to take this to overtime, that is the round they are going to look back on. That is the moment, and it's going to be Boomer at the helm of the key round to hold on to this very important match for them.
Right now, we're seeing the final round of regulation. Round 12. The stage has been set. A bomb site and trophy statuary that has been won a single time for both attack and defense. A neutral playing ground on a neutral entire map of the decider in this best of 3 series. If Penn State wins, it's over. Michigan Tech backs against the wall, need to continue this comeback that they've been able to claw their way out of. They dug themselves a hole. They went 3-3 on their defensive split. In Penn State, all they need is that 4-2. They need the 4 defensive wins, and it will have to come with a successful defense of trophy statuary. Last round, victory was so close on the lips of the PSU squad that they could almost taste it, but they couldn't quite get it done as the entire site exploded at once with a flurry of blue kills into their back pocket. For Penn State, it looked so good in the beginning, but they weren't quite able to close it out, which is what they're going to need to do this round.
I want to highlight what we saw from Delta Force on that last round. And while, of course, Michigan Tech did take that round, I really loved what he did. He sat still completely silent in Aviator for like a minute and a half of the round while everything converged around him. While Joe was taken out by CJ, he didn't bother to support his teammate. He just stayed absolutely silent, and that worked, and it allowed him to get the flank off. But that can't work twice in a row. Now, Michigan are going to be aware that there are likely going to be 2 players playing on the extended hold on this side, and that is exactly what we're going to see once again. It's Joe and Delta Force, the same players, the same positions, looking to start off the round in the same way and just not let that collapse onto site, bite them in the back like it did on the previous round.
Yeah, they did everything well until the very bitter end, and that's what matters most. That's where MTU was able to thrive, as now it's a little bit less of an aggressive roam being brought out by Penn State. They don't have people locked up inside of Aviator. They're playing more 90 side. Sure, you've still got Delta Force and Jaws on that side of the map, but they're not inside of the bar. They're not in all those other really advanced positions. They've fallen back. And as soon as you shoot the drones, that's when you can press up. That's where you can try to catch people off guard as they're denying so much intel. The mute jammers making it incredibly more difficult to find that intel. They don't know where these players are. There's reinforcements blocking off the easy lines of sights, and you have Jaws just swinging 90 as well as Delta Force sitting inside of Study, an area that might not be utilized, but it's still going to be pressured by the Nomad and Zofia as the walls are caving in around Jaws. The wall behind him has been broken. There's pressure coming in up the hallway and in behind him. He's prone behind the shelf. He's waiting for the peak. Will it come? A little bit of a baiting back and forth as he's going to get off the angle at the worst time and get punished by the timing, as Red will also take out Delta Force. That's both roamers falling in quick succession, as well as the prox alarm, as Red gets a beautifully timed flank, leaving it at a 5v3 execute coming on site.
Well, Destroyer will answer back and take out Boomer, who was so clutch in the last round. Still a man advantage for Michigan, though. Penn State still have quite a hill to climb here if they're going to want to take this. The diffuser, though, has been dropped, and Destroyer has his eyes on where the player needs to go to pick up that diffuser. That's going to be Chibbles with his eyes on that case, trying to grab it. He will. Here comes Ash swinging in. That's going to be Red. He'll take down one. That's a double kill for Red. CJ takes another one down, and just like that, after K-Bear delivered it to Michigan Tech, who will take this round, take this map into overtime.
What a fitting end to this narrative that has unfolded in front of our very eyes. Overtime, match 3. 3 final rounds coming out as PSU is going to get to stay on the defensive side. But it's been even. Both teams 3-3 on their attacking defensive split, leading to evened up scoreline. However, Penn State hasn't lost their Aviator game's defense, and that has been the strongest site for both of these teams. What is going to come down to is, can MTU adjust and try to overcome the insane amount of pressure that Penn State is able to withhold inside of their site? They can just sit back. They take it so well. They understand exactly where the push has to come through. You can get rid of the roamers, but the anchors are the core of this defense, where they can sit behind the bar. They can sit inside a vault and punish you through any doorway that you think you can move in towards safely.
Okay, C-Daps, I'm calling it. I'm gonna say we're going to round 15. Okay.
Yeah, I think we
Penn
are as
State,
well.
they're gonna take this round. Michigan Tech, they're gonna take Aviator, and then it's gonna be as storybook as possible. Penn State have to win trophy and statuary, where they have back-to-back been unable to do so. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Maybe Penn State will go to kitchen and dining. I doubt it, but maybe. But this one is going to come down to the wire. I am sure of it.
Yeah, I think we're due for another 20 minutes of casting. I don't think we get off that easy.
No, we do not.
First map went the distance, all 12 rounds. Second map, not. We'll say it was faster. And this one's gonna go all the way, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Coming out as the Aviator Games defense that we've seen already brought twice by Penn State will once again be replicated. But will the result of the round also fall under the same fate?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to have to watch and wait and see. We do see Destroyer in the position he's been in every single time on this defense, holding on main stairs, watching the study doorway, and watching his flank from below. But this is not going to be that easy to do. A lot easier said than done. He'll have the pancakes to assist him, but the opening pick goes in favor of Michigan Tech. This could turn the tide of this round and this match if they're able to continue to emulate that success. And now it's going to be the pressure on Destroyer is what we're going to have to watch next. We see the drone work supporting the Nomad of TK as he works his way up towards the main stairs. Destroyer will take that out, but the barbed wire no longer protects him. Here come the flashes to burn the pancakes and burn those ADSs. As Red now tries to challenge on, but Destroyer finds TK. That removes down the Nomad. No more air jabs, but he's being pushed from all sides. He's going to have to look towards the main stairs, but Red is there, and he's ready. Destroyer will fall, and just like that, it's a 4 versus 3, still in the favor of Michigan Tech. We've got a minute 30 to go, and now the defenders are forced to back up onto site. We do have the Valkyrie. That's K-Bear working his way in. Over from landing, looking towards the study door where the pressure is mounting from. But all the attackers are watching this angle. They know exactly what they have to be aware from. So it's going to come down to this final push.
Yeah, they have the pressure necessary to push both bar, which is where Jaws is residing, as well as try to lock down the angles. But that's what Electroshot is doing, as K-Bear is going to steal his kill. Electroshot with the down still has quite a few bullets to try to go in. And it's the SMG-11 in close proximity, as well as the Nitro Cell being tossed out. But CJ moves up into and evades it masterfully. Boomer also able to take out Electroshot. K-Bear picks up his second kill, but he needs to double that effort in order to take this round into the hands of the Penn State defense. It's a 2v1 post-plant position as he's made his way over into Classical, and that's somewhere that Boomer doesn't even expect. He finds the back of the ace and puts him down, leaving it just CJ versus K-Bear in a 1v1 situation. 18 kills to his name, make that 19 as CJ does the impossible. A beautiful off angle supplemented with the drone work of the pre-plays, knowing exactly where the Valk was going to go. Played like putty into the hands of the masterfully played Zofia Clutch as CJ takes the round that has not been taken before on Aviator Games from the Penn State defense, as well as puts them on overtime match point, switching onto their defense.
The caster curse is real. I mean, who could have predicted that Penn State would have lost Plains and Games, the site that they have been flawless before? Oh, that is a tough round loss for them, but we're heading over to Trophy and Statuary. I think Penn State was able to muster some attacking on this before when Michigan Tech were here, but it's going to be up to this defense. Maybe this is going to be an attacker-sided overtime all of a sudden. We really don't know. But listen, if Penn State can take this round, that means they could still go back to Aviator Games if they win this one.
And you know, you touched on it all the way, what, 3 hours ago, where you said the one to watch was CJ. And look at his score line.
Oh, man.
He's on the cusp of dropping the 20 bomb. 19, 6, and 10, accounting for 25 kills over 13 rounds.
Don't sleep
The
on Red.
impact,
Look at him.
yeah, Red's doing insanely well as well, like, for lack of a better term. This team is a little bit top heavy, and I guess we can also say that Chibbles got his first kill, so if Chibbles gets a kill, then MTU wins the round. Easy as that, right? That's how statistics work.
That's what happened.
Yeah, every single time he's gotten a kill, they've won the round. Shout out to Chibbles, most important player on MTU right now. If he gets a kill this round, they win the game.
All right, we'll see if that prediction comes to fruition here as now it's up to Penn State. They are on the attack. It's their responsibility to push into the open arms of Michigan Tech. Now, we didn't see this too many times on the Michigan Tech half because they preferred to go to kitchen and dining rather than to trophy. But it will be up to this attack. Are they going to do a direct master take, or is this going to be a more of a traditional south to north clear, working their way all the way in study? We see the hologram going to get muted away, so that Yana knowledge is going to be denied. She still has those 2 frags, but now that hologram is going to substantial cooldown, making it a bit tougher to get that necessary information. It appears this is going to be very directed onto Master. We already see the utility going in. Deployable shield, that's the Vulcan shield from the Goya, will be taken down. And that's going to be one of them off the table. That's going to delay 10 seconds, but this is exactly when you could pop those shields, and it won't be a problem at all. Last time, I believe we saw Penn State work their way up from the astronomy stairs. We do have Joe positioned on the astronomy window. No defenders in astronomy right now, but they do have that rotate into trophy. But we also have TK playing below the C4s. Could be so potent if Penn State are not careful.
Yeah, the C4s down below, all of the floors that matter are soft, and you can deny the plant with a single push of a button and the call of a cell phone, as well as the repel, which we see, I believe it's Jaws holding on to, be completely shut down from the vertical angles opened up by the explosive. A double nitro almost landing as Electroshot and K-Bear would both take 50 HP. They bared the burden equally, but Delta Force, he's dropping Boomer straight into the grave. No more Goyo, and one more nitro cell off the board as a little bit of sight pressure is starting to mount onto the side of the Penn State attack. Chibbles, close proximity with a shotgun. That's where he wants to be. He's on concrete, waiting for any of these swings to go out as a one-tap from CJ will secure his 20 bomb. Goodbye, Electroshock. Tucks him into bed with a quick good night. Easy enough, but Delta Force falls at the hands of Red, who's not going to be updone by the insane performance that CJ has put so far, as well as Chibbles. Boom goes the shotgun. Mossberg dropping the Ash into a 6-foot grave, and that's the frag that they might have needed, but K-Bear doesn't care. He's going to drop the flanking Valkyrie off the top of the Astro stairs, but Diffuser is not into the hands of the attackers with only 30 seconds left to go.
This one's going to be a tough situation for Penn State. It's K-Bear swinging around onto CJ, won't connect the shots. The Valk has been, is totally alive right now and can absolutely continue to work this flank. But Chibbles is caught. He gets him unaware. K-Bear will fall. Jaws gets one, but it's up to Joe against the world, and he can't do it. Red delivers the final blow, and just like that, Michigan Tech have pulled off the comeback and have bought themselves a ticket to the grand finals.
They have a date with the University of Akron. IMAT, Arv, JetCon, the whole crew sitting in chat waiting patiently for MTU to arrive. And that will be next week, coming up soon. As, look at that, CJ and Red Show was able to shut down Delta Force and Destroyer as hard as they tried. 8-6, a beautifully close game, a wonderful series to cast as well as watch, but it's over. MTU, they are securing at least second place here at CEA Invite Playoffs as Joe State University unfortunately just got sent to the Shadow Realm and their season is over.
What a match. Oh my goodness. I'm still reeling from that. I was on the edge of my seat myself, and I was the one casting it. I mean, wow. These teams put on an absolute show for us tonight. It was a pleasure to watch. We saw MTU execute a massive, massive comeback. I mean, there were some very individual plays, but it really just set off the whole team on an absolute tear. We saw that clutch round we talked about. If MTU get to overtime, it's going to be on the shoulders of Boomer, who clutched the match point round when they were attacking on trophy and statuary, and he found 3 kills. I mean, I mean, what a play from him on that round. But overall, I mean, this was well done from the entire team. Yes, like you said, you were absolutely right. If Chibbles gets a kill, MTU win the round, and he did more than that. He got two. He bodied one with the shotgun and then found one on the unsuspecting Yana with the SMG-11. It was a beautiful play from him and a storybook ending for Michigan Tech to book their ticket to the grand finals.
And we just now have the confirmation that we have none other than Boomer coming in. Welcome. How are you doing today?
A lot better after that Villa map.
I mean, that was a barn burner for sure, a really long series, and I'm glad you guys had enough in the tank to go through it.
Yeah, you and me both. It was looking a little rough on Villa for a second, but I'm proud of everyone for being able to keep themselves composed and be able to pull it back.
Well, alrighty, let's get the questions rolling. We're gonna go all the way back to Oregon. I hope you remember a couple of the things that happened there. It seems like 5 years ago, but I think the most notable thing for me on Oregon was your blue rush. I wanted to know if that was something that you guys necessarily practiced a lot and it was like a pocket strat, or if it was an on-the-fly call.
It was on the fly. We noticed that their setups were slow. We're like, oh, well, if they're just going to have 5 people play off site, let's just go to site. So we ended up going through blue. We noticed that one was slower. So we just pushed in there. TK got a couple entry frags. CJ got entries on the other side. We just cleaned up and ended up winning the post plant.
Yeah, and it was really well executed overall. I was predicting that was an on-the-fly call because I saw some drones, and I'm like, I think that they see that the wall's not reinforced yet, and they're just going to go in fast. That's exactly what you did. But unfortunately, you did sort of fall flat at the end of Oregon, but it sort of wasn't a big deal because that was Penn State's map choice. Then you took them all the way over to Theme Park, and we know how that turned out.
That was fun. That was actually the only time I've ever had fun playing Theme Park.
So I want a little bit of a insight into the comms on that TK clutch. Where he got off the diffuser and was Buck.
Okay. We normally have it CS style in our comms. If they're clutching, unless you're calling someone out exactly where they are, we're all quiet. It's the comms afterwards. The amount of popping off that the entire team is doing because they are the best player on this side of the Mississippi. The best collegiate enter operator here, NA. Like, we're just trying to gas up our homies as much as possible. And when TK ended up getting his clutch, we were just screaming the entire time. I feel terrible for my housemates.
Well, it was amazing to watch from our perspective, and I want to talk about the one round where you were just an absolute beast on Villa. I think, well, this is the round that really, in my mind, turned the tide of that whole match.
Yeah.
You were attacking trophy statuary, and you got that 3K pushing into sight. Just walk me through that round.
So we noticed that their hold was completely horizontal. They had maybe Valkyrie downstairs, but the Mute and the Jaeger were in Aviator and Games. And CJ and I decided to take that half of the map. The other 3 were getting the wall in their little pod. CJ and I were trying to push out the Mute. We lost Jaeger, who was around Aviator, Red Stairs. He ended up popping back up and getting CJ as we were pushing through 90. Jaeger, I realized that I just opened the castle barricade. I had to smoke that off so I could cross to get into Bust and kill the Jaeger. And at that point, Red and Chibbles were executing onto Astro and onto Statue. So I peeked the Jaeger. I keep pushing in a trophy, get Malusi, I think it was, and then get Smoke in the Astro Rotate. And overall, it was just a coordinated push that just kind of feels natural, like most of the stuff we do.
Well, it was a pleasure to watch that round, and obviously congratulations to you on your amazing victory. 2 more questions before we end the night and let you go celebrate with your team. I want to talk about next week a little bit because you're going against Akron and you lost to them already once. So, how are you going to go into the grand finals, and what kind of mindset are you going to take into that match to go against the beasts of Akron?
we've made God's bleed. That's kind of been the mindset I've had. Week 1, we played them. We were in the same group as them. We brought them 5-7 on Coastline, and since then we had a little confidence boost that was like, okay, these guys were pretty good last year, right? These guys were the number 1 team. Everyone's talking about the team to beat Akron, and we touched them. We did the Birth of Man painting, right? And we come into playoffs and we go, okay, well, we're seeded 6th. We're not playing 1. That's Akron. We beat the 3 seed. We beat the 2 seed, and then we play Akron. We're like, we could do this, right? And we lose 1-2. We get sent to losers. Boo hoo! It is what it is. They're Akron, right? Everyone's fearing them, but we got so close and we tasted victory against those guys. So I think if we give it some time to prepare, I think we will do quite well against Akron. I know IMAT wanted to play FIU. Penn State ruined those dreams. We ruined their dreams of playing Penn State. So IMAT's unfortunately stuck with us again. It's going to be a good one. I'm glad we get to do the rematch of winners finals. And no matter what, we're just happy to make invite finals, because no matter what, we've proven that we can play with the best of the best.
Absolutely. Yes, congratulations again on that. And I am absolutely stoked to watch your match next week. I think it's going to be fantastic. But before we sign off, I'm going to send it over to you. Tell me, shout out your supporters, let people know, that you're grateful for them to be around. This is your chance to do that.
All right. First, I want to thank my teammates. You guys played like monsters. I want to thank anyone that's out here supporting MTU. From the bottom of my heart, I really do thank you. We can't do this without your guys' support. I want to specifically shout out Team Dad, Mr. CJ's dad. Thank you for watching most, if not all, of our games this year. We really do appreciate it, and we love to have you around. Anyone watching CEA Siege in general, Collegiate Siege needs a boost, just like Pro League. So we're happy to put on entertaining games, and we're happy to kind of continue what we call our anime run, our anime arc, where we don't do very well at the beginning, but we end up pulling it back, and we're here to face the final antagonist of Akron in December. So we hope to see you all there, and I'm excited to kind of see where this takes us.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm sure your supporters love to hear from you, and thank you once again for hopping by for our interview, and congratulations. And we hope you have a great rest of your week, man.
Thank you.
Well, CDAPS, it's been an absolute pleasure, man, and this is an amazing match.
Yeah, and that's to put it, like, to undersell it. That was an absolute bar burner. It was a great series, certified hood classic, whatever you want to say. It was absolutely wonderful. But like any good stories, it has reached its conclusion. It will be over. And yeah, that's sort of how it is. Do you want to go ahead and thank our wonderful sponsors?
Sure, we've got our amazing sponsors, CORSAIR, first of all, coming in with not only our amazing, merch for the finals and for the prizes for both the Open League and the Invite League. We want to thank them for that. Want to thank Rogue Energy, amazing, our sponsor from day one. You can use code CEA, I believe, for about 10% off your purchase. And finally, we've got What's New.gg. They provide our merch. We'll be getting some amazing collegiate merch coming in soon, I believe. So we love that our sponsors are here with us supporting Collegiate Siege, and we are very grateful for them to be involved at this level. But for myself, Jays Wills, and for CDAPS, we thank everyone for tuning in for this amazing matchup, and we hope to see you guys next week for the grand finals, which will be Michigan Tech versus Akron. Thanks so much, everybody.